Wallace leading at Dover for the 15th race that he has managed to get to the point.
But that's the first time he's led here at Dover since they concreted this place. He was doing ever so well, leading race after race. They put the concrete down. He hasn't led until just now.
And the 5 points that he gets for leading a lap, that's very important. Near the end of the year, that can add up to hundreds of points for guys that lead nearly every race.
Jeff Gordon trying to push him through the corner, it seems.
Well, Gordon searching up and down this early in the race.
Already the tail end of the field is only about a half lap from being lapped.
Here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside. Rusty shuts the door on him going down into turn 1.
Remember, buddy, you showed the folks in the pre-race show how you make these passes. Here is the classic example again.
There it is. You see him make the low line there work. Here comes Mark Martin along. Rusty Wallace dropping back through the field right now. They got position on the inside. The preferred line right now, the quickest line, is the bottom of the racetrack.
So Jeff Gordon for the 7th straight Dover race is leading. And look at Rusty Wallace going backwards.
He's stuck upstairs and they're just putting him away. Gordon's driving a car they call Butthead today. That has won. That's the name of it. It's right on the dashboard. He's won 2 out of his 3 Winston Cup point races this year in that car.
Riding with Jeff Burton, he has gone all the way to the back of the field. Only Darrell Waltrip is behind him right now as he tries to challenge Kevin LePage for 41st spot.
Eli, you can see the bottom groove has a lot more rubber in it. The higher groove up there is much grayer, does not have the grip that the bottom part of the racetrack has.
There goes LePage around Dave Marcus, and he'll bring Burton along with him if Jeff can get on the button there.
Good to see Marcus in the program today. He's had trouble making the shows in 1998, but Dover is one of his best racetracks. Qualified 5th for this race last year.
There's a move for Rusty right there as he'll grab the 7th spot from Ernie Irvin. The leaders are already 1 4/10 seconds ahead of 3rd place Dale Jarrett. But we'll watch this scramble right here for 7th. It is a good one. You've got Kenny Irwin also closing in behind Ernie Irvin. There is Kenny right behind.
Eli, it's very, very early in the race right now. They're already talking to the pit crew. When we make a stop, this car is pushing or it's loose. You start talking to your crew, setting up what you're going to do miles and miles on down the way as to what will make the car run better all day.
Glenn, is Rusty Wallace talking to the crew at all?
Yes, he is, Eli. He told Robin Pemberton, the crew chief, that the car was just a little bit loose right now. That's why he didn't want to take any chances of getting back down in traffic. They just told him to ride it out. 400 miles, a long, long way here. Makes for a long day. Got plenty of time to adjust it.
This is only the 2nd 400-miler ever run at this track. We've run 500-milers most recently, though they opened up in 1969 with some 300-milers as Rusty works his way to the inside of Nemechek to grab 6th spot. And caution now, midway of the backstretch, that is Johnny Benson.
On the bottom.
Oh, and he gets tagged to the inside as Kyle Petty had nowhere to go. And here comes Robert Presley. There's Randy LaJoy. The 97, that's Chad Little. That backstretch, folks, 10 feet narrower than the turns. And when it blocks like that, buddy, you're just out of luck.
You're absolutely correct. And you can see even the straightaway is banked almost like turns at other places.
You okay?
So when you start sliding, you all get together on the bottom part of the racetrack.
And you got Jack Roush cars involved there, and both the 26, the Cheerios car, the 97, Chad Little, both of those from the Jack Roush stables.
The 26 is really bent up. The whole back end of that thing is pushed in. Randy LaJoy.
Lap number 10. And this will already match last year's number. We had 1 caution here in September of last year, 1 caution here yesterday. Let's watch it again as here comes Chad Little to the pit area. Let's see exactly what triggered it all with Johnny's problems.
Well, Johnny's up on the high side there. You see John Andretti in the 43. Whether there was contact or not, we certainly won't speculate. As he starts sliding down, cars are trying to avoid him, and it's a chain reaction behind him. Kyle Petty hit very, very hard with the left front corner, just very close to where he's sitting.
And watch this. I don't know if you can see it on this angle. No, it's already gone by as Kyle comes crashing on in. And again, those straightaways are 9 degrees of banking. But did you notice when Benson spun too, it was Ted Musgrave, another Roush car that came along and nestled him.
3 of the 5 Roush cars involved in that single incident. Oh,
that's Randy LaJoie in the 50 there. You can see he had the brakes locked up, nowhere to go.
Watch this first angle again. Watch, you'll see quickly after he spins. Watch a blue and gold car come by and rip off the rear bumper. Here comes Musgrave. Close watch. There he is. Bang.
We also pushed the door in on Musgrave's car, which isn't nearly as bad as what happened at Benson shortly thereafter.
Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Eli, Brett Bodine just left his pit stall. Some damage to the front fascia of his car. His grill has been pushed in, the bumper a little bit damaged. Other than that, his car seemed to be okay, just some superficial body damage to the front nose. He was hoping for some good luck today. His wife won 12 grand in the slot machines in Dover this weekend. He was hoping that was going to carry over onto the racetrack.
Goodness.
Brett Bodine's front end on that car. Now, you run fast enough here that any damage to the nose section of the car hurts it as far as the ability to get around the racetrack aerodynamically.
So they've got a lot of cleanup to do. We're going to take advantage and break away for just a bit. Jeff Gordon leads. Rodney Wise is saying, come on, guys, let's bunch it up. Back with you here at Dover Downs. As you see on the lower part of the screen, you've got Randy LaJoie's car still there. Kyle Petty still nudged up against the 77 of Robert Presley. That is the Johnny Benson car as they head back to the garage. Let's see if we can see anything more from Randy LaJoie's onboard camera. Remember, he had one for us with the Budweiser team. Let's watch.
On the back,
Randy
on the
coming out
bottom.
on the back straightaway in front of him. You can see all the smoke going up. People locking brakes. Randy tries to go the high side loop.
Oh, man.
Well, when they say no place to go, that's exactly what they mean. No place to go. He
It
was
almost
trapped.
looks like a tunnel you're going into.
Yeah, it's very narrow. Very narrow.
Let's go down to the garage. Chad Little has just made his way in.
And Chad Little has just climbed out of the car. Chad, what happened? Can you get back in the race?
Oh, we'll get back in, but, you know, it's going to take a few laps. It damaged the radiator, and I think it broke a idler arm mount or one of the steering mounts because the steering wasn't tight anymore. But it's hard to say exactly the damage is till we get underneath there and look, but it's pretty substantial. And I didn't see what happened, you guys. You know, I saw everybody up in front of me, and you know, and I was way slowed down. No problem at all in missing it. And in comes that one of the cars. I hesitate to say because I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know if he didn't see a thing or what the deal was, but he came in there going 50 miles an hour, and 2 of us were stopped, and we had no problem missing the wreck, and he just ran right into the side of us and, you know, drove us into the guys that were already wrecked. So unfortunate for the John Deere car, but, you know, we'll get it fixed and get back out there and do the point deal. All right, thanks, Chad.
So there you see those who were involved in the accident. Ted Musgrave has been making a pit stop every time by, so he's still running. But Benson, Petty, LaJoie, Presley, and Little are in the garage area. And Chad, as you just heard, hopes to be able to get back in. Some of the others are still on the back straightaway, so this is going to be a fairly lengthy caution here. Again, a multi-car accident on the back straightaway at lap number 10 as we continue under the caution. Watch Randy LaJoie's in-car camera again. I wonder if he hit the wall, too. Watch this.
On the bottom. On the bottom.
No, he didn't hit the wall. Well, right there.
Oh,
he sure did touch it just a bit. We're back in a moment. But not much else did on Kyle Petty's car. But tough way to go. There's Johnny Benson's car being rebuilt. His first ever NASCAR race win came here in a NASCAR Busch Series race back in 1994. It's been a good track for Johnny. You might remember that day. He just did beat Harry Gant by a few car lengths after winning the ASA championship. But while his spotter looks on from up high atop the grandstand, and Dale Inman is right next door to him there, spotting for John Andretti, we'll go to the garage and hear from Johnny Benson.
And fortunately, Johnny's standing here. He seems to be okay. Johnny, what happened out there?
We're just running decent, you know. Car's a little tight, and I come under 2 trying to get underneath the 9. I got loose, and that's the first time the car ever showing any signs of looseness, and I was doing everything I could to catch it, and then I stayed off the walls and everything, and then I don't know, everybody started hitting the Cheerios Taurus. It's wrecked pretty bad, but I spun. I thought we were going to be okay, and then looked like everybody come in there.
Yeah, it was indeed a chain reaction. They are working on the car to try to get him back out there. Let's go to Steve.
Hey, thanks, Glenn, with Robert Presley, who's taking... Robert, first of all, from your perspective, what happened? Can you get the car fixed?
I doubt it. It hit pretty hard, you know, on the front end. And just, you know, it's typical Dover. You really try to get through these first 10 laps. And I had me a good little cushion between me and the guy in front of us. Just come off there, and Johnny got turned around or spun or something. And by the time I come out of it, somebody hit Kyle, knocked him into us, and then we had a big mess.
Looks like the day's over for Robert Presley.
But you know, Johnny Benson was right. That might have been the first time all weekend we've heard the term loose used in relation, because the new Goodyear tire, if anything, as good as it's adhering to the track, has given these cars a push, buddy, as opposed to them being loose. And I guess if you're pushing, if nothing else, maybe you can just kind of get off the gas and help save yourself.
Well, let's talk about that a second. Overnight, no matter what racing surface it is, it gets a lot of sand and stuff on it. So the first few laps, everybody's out there. You get a little bit out of the groove, and you get into what we call a loose condition because of excess buildup on the racetrack.
Oh, you saw Buckshot Jones, some damage to the right front of the Circuit City Chevy. Meanwhile, Glenn, I see running through the garage area. Let's go right down there. I think Kyle Petty's nearby.
Yeah, I caught up with Kyle. We haven't caught up with his race car yet. They're waiting on it, and man, the door slams in a hurry back there, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, talking to Benson riding in the ambulance, he said that he got loose or it got away from him a little bit. We all slowed down, and somebody's driving with their head up the rear end behind us and running the back of me, launched me into the 77, and his day was over with after that.
Okay, we're going to get out of the way here. King Richard's moving us out of the way. The race car's finally here. They're going to work on it, try to get him back out there.
And Randy LaJoy also on the sideline. Randy, what's your situation?
I'm not sure. Budweiser Chevrolet took a pretty good shot in the right front. Just one of those deals that happens at Dover. I guess it was two different wrecks. Johnny Benson spun, and then somebody got in the back of Kyle and got Kyle going for a ride. I passed a couple cars on the outside, spotted to slow down, got nailed in the left rear, and just got caught up in it. Hated it. I mean, we had a good car last practice, but it don't look like we'll be able to fix it. We'll see. Hendrick Motorsports does a good job. We'll see if we get the thing back out there, ride around, get some points.
Thanks, Randy.
So Johnny Benson, Randy LaJoy, Kyle Petty, Robert Presley, Chad Little, those cars in the garage area right now. And some may be able to return. Others certainly will not. But we are now a lap away from going back to high-speed racing. Jeff Gordon, the leader. Mark Martin is second. Dale Jarrett third. Rick Mast fourth, and Ricky Rudd fifth. There is the one-to-go signal by a Delaware native, Rodney Wise, atop the flag stand. There's Jeff Burton, still back in 37th spot. He had backslid to 42nd during that first 8, 9, 10 laps of green flag racing, guys.
The big point is he's getting the tire heat back into the car, and he missed the wreck. That's the big thing.
Matt, what was the deal there on the initial start for Jeff Burton?
Eli, that caution came at the most opportune time for Jeff Burton. His car had gone bad loose. He nearly lost it. They brought it in not once but 3 times to check the chassis to see if they might have had a shot going away. They did make a wedge adjustment. Also, they came back in the last time around and topped off with fuel. That could easily push his fuel window to around lap 115.
It's interesting. Again, a report of a loose race car.
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
That young man there has been flagging races from his grandstand seat for years. He started, it was just a little tight.
Eli, everybody watched TV from their trucks yesterday and heard us talking about the push of everybody was having. I think some of the guys may have started this race a little bit on the loose side because of that.
Well, that's part of the search that we were talking about. The crews trying to figure out what it is they have to do with springs and shocks and weight balance and all the rest of that. And then the drivers searching around for the best line. And it is so early in this race with a brand new tire here at Dover. And let's not also forget that since they raced here the last time, the spoilers have been cut down. Ford an inch less, Chevy 3/4, Pontiac an inch and an eighth less spoilers.
Rusty Wallace grabs 5th. Ricky Rudd 6th. Joe Nemechek now 7th.
Talking of Rusty, at the very first, he complained of being loose. Now the car seems to be pretty neutral, and he's starting to pass cars that passed him in the earlier part of the event.
Here goes Nemechek looking, can't make the move on Ricky Rudd that time. That is 6th place on your screen. Already 1 3/10 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon, though, so that tells you the pace that Jeff is setting here in the early stages of the MBNA Platinum 400.
As we watch Ricky Rudd in that number 10 car trying to hold Nemechek off, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. It seems hard to believe that he has not led a lap since winning the Brickyard 400 last year. He has had a tough time of it. They are looking forward to this race at Dover as the single event to turn his gear around. This is his best track.
There's Jeff Burton. He's now working himself up through the running order. He's 32nd as we ride with him.
Ted Musgraves can't hold his car down on the bottom part of the racetrack, and you can see Burton taking that line low and making the pass through the middle part of the corner.
In the top part of that shot, those big high grandstands, that's 10,000 new seats that were added since last fall. They're all sold out.
Couple of laps ago, watch what happened here.
Hey.
LePage got loose, Bobby Labonte on the binders, Dave Marcus, Steve Grissom.
If that had been any other car but the Pontiac with that real slope nose, that would have been an incident. He went up under the back of LePage with the nose of the Pontiac.
Good point. There's 0.6 of a second. That's what it looks like here at Dover Downs from Mark Martin's car in second. Looking forward to Jeff Gordon. 148 miles an hour plus for Gordon. On our computers, he is the only driver running 148 or better. Not even counting the guys who are in traffic, but all of these fellows here who are running by their lonesome. No one turning the speed that Gordon did on the last handful of laps. There's 17th place right there, Mike Skinner. Healthy again. Kenny Schrader in that green and white 33 right behind him. Then Michael Waltrip.
Talking about Skinner, he's injured, and they put a device in his car that weighs less than 2 pounds. It's an air conditioning unit that takes less than 3 amps to run and absolutely keeps them cool. You know, when you're hurt, one thing, if you're comfortable, it makes it more endurable.
He's another guy who was looking forward to Dover. He scored his first career top 10 in this same race last year. Schrader's worried him, though, isn't he? Schrader's all over the back end of that 31.
Again, that's 17th and 18th spot. Michael Waltrip behind in the 21. He's running 19th. 20th is Jeff Bodine. There he is in the 7th. Jeff used to be the ultimate track record holder here at the Monster Mile back in the days of his old enclosed wheel modified. That's gone away. And when the Indy Racing League comes here in just a few weeks, all the speed records will be going bye-bye. We're going bye-bye as well for just a moment. Hit the wall. We'll update that incident in a moment, but everybody's on pit road for service. Lap 34. Let's go to pit road.
35 miles per hour down pit road. Rick Mast hits his marks. His car was a little bit on the loose side. They're going to adjust with air pressure to try to get his car a little more neutral. Now let's go to Steve Burns.
And Matt Dale Jarrett said he's going to get 4 tires. They're also going to take a piece of tape off the grill, perhaps to add downforce. Let's check in now with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Steve, down at the far end of pit road, Jeff Gordon is in a 4-tire change. Rusty Wallace is also in. Gordon is out. He's away first. Wallace is still up. There goes Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett. Look like a dead heat. Rusty Wallace will go out fourth. This is the opportunity all these guys have been waiting for. As we've told you, this is a brand new racing tire for this surface. First time they've got to check out the tire wear. You can bet they'll be consulting, putting their heads together, and talking to Goodyear. This is a great chance to check that tire wear.
That's why we're under caution, and Kenny Wallace is already out of the car, into the ambulance, on the way to the infield care center. And Buddy will take a look at it and show the folks that he was doing what he was supposed to, then it all went away on him.
Yeah, you can see right there, he couldn't turn the car. He was down low on the racetrack entering turn 3, veered. All of a sudden, something happened to the right front corner of that car, went straight up and made a hard hit with the right front corner of the car.
See him right there?
That's another angle. You can see the black marks right along here, going straight up to the wall.
It's a hard hit. He's had a tough year. He'd already had 4 DNFs before this race. If he can't get out of the pits and get the car back on the racetrack, he will lead the league in DNFs.
Okay, you can see right here, this is the black mark going in the corner that goes right straight up. Believe you me, that is a boilerplate wall right there backed up by the state of Delaware. I mean, it's a tough place to hit. I've hit here and woke up somewhere else.
Easy to have happen. So caution on the speedway, the second of the afternoon. Jeff Burton did not pit, nor did Buckshot Jones. We're coming right back.
I like the speed. You know, it's like a disease, and you don't get rid of it. You're never going fast enough. Going 185 mile an hour is nothing. But you got to remember, you got to make that turn and go back the other way. That's something. Usually I sit back in the car. I got my gloves, my helmet on. I say, it's you and me, baby. Let's go.
Away from going to the green. Quick reminder, folks, if you go back to green, Jeff Burton is the race leader by virtue of not pitting here, while he did pit earlier on lap number 11, lap number 12, and so on. Burton leads. Green flag is in the air. Right behind him, Buckshot Jones, who also did not pit. He's running second.
Wonder how long that camera's going to stay here, Eli.
Well, it's already made it longer than the one last week. I think it's Charlotte.
Yeah. That thing's buried in the grass just coming off turn 2. And if you want to make a wager with those who are watching the race as to how long it's going to stay, have at it.
Jeff Gordon to second. Can Buckshot cover the spot? No. Jarrett goes by. Mark Martin in the 6 goes by. Rusty Wallace goes by. And Buckshot's going bye-bye the other way.
Yeah, so is Jeff Gordon right into the lead. Bam.
He is the new leader again. Jeff Gordon. He led laps 4 through 34 and takes over the lead again at lap number 40. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, guys, just to update you on what went on pit road down here, Ray Evernham and the crew did not change anything on Jeff Gordon's car. They said they wanted to look a little further at tire wear, so they'd wait a little bit. Meanwhile, we thought there'd be a change on Rusty Wallace. There was not. They had to start the race on a brand new set of sticker tires. That's why the car got loose early on. They cut the qualifying set, cut a tire in the qualifying set yesterday in practice, so they think they're okay. Matt?
Mark Martin hit pit road second, came out fifth, but third of the cars that hit pit road. His car was on the tight side. They took a half a pound of air out of the right front and made a track bar adjustment. Now, if this race gets into some long green flag runs, you should see the 6 car at the front. He gets the best gas mileage of anyone on pit road. They feel they can go 103 laps per stop. So also an update on the 43 car of John Andretti. His car was also tight, but his biggest problem has been traffic. He's had some lap times up there with the leaders. They cannot get around some of the slower cars. Now let's go to Steve Burns.
Matt, I'm with Kenny Wallace. Kenny just walked out of the infield care center. Kenny, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It was a pretty hard hit. Just going down the back straightaway and just starting to get in the corner. Right front tire blowed out, and just pretty lucky. Hit hard, but I want to thank Square D, my sponsor, and all the guys. This is a brand new car, and not a new one no more. All right, back upstairs.
Yeah, that was a brand new car, 3/4 drop snout. There's old Wardford. He was running in 19th. He is now 33rd. He is now 34th. And he will finally get back in line. He went from 19th to 34th when he got out of line.
New paint job on this car for this particular race.
Well, he's got problems. He's got more than just getting out of line. Oh, he just does cut it. He'll slide across that area entering pit road we had talked about, buddy.
Very, very slick. There's sealer on the entrance to pit road there. You can see the front tires lock up as he hit that sealer. Very, very treacherous when they make a green flag stop.
So they go to work on the right side of Ward Burton's car, while Jeff Gordon is already leading by 0.4 of a second.
Still, upstairs has not been the place to be so far. We saw a lot more upstairs, downstairs stuff yesterday at the Busch Grand National race, and surely as this one wears on, we're going to see more passing on the high side. Not a good place to be right now, though.
As we take a look at the rundown across the top of the screen, the folks at Napa who keep America running, also bringing you the timing and scoring. You know, Ernie Irvin was telling me today in the garage, and I think you guys spoke with him also, he wanted to go up high all day if he could.
Yeah, he really did. He thought if he went up high that he could come out of the corners so well that he could pick up as much as 10 miles an hour, additional straightaway speed. So he's planning on trying that as the day wears on.
All I can tell him is he better start using it, because the cars on the bottom of the racetrack now are definitely quicker, and it's because everybody is running there. The rubber, you can see right as you go in the corner here, the dark part of the racetrack, it's the same as a dragster spinning the tires before they start a drag race. You get a good rubber compound down there. The hot tire sticks to it. Up higher, you can see the gray area there. You don't have the traction.
We're doing a 1 mile burnout, basically.
Yeah, in fact, some of the drivers say they get such good bite from running down there that coming out of the corner, they actually have to lift a little bit so they don't run the car right into the wall. And Jeff Bodine says he's going to run this racetrack like it's a dirt track. He's going to try to steer it with the throttle coming out of the corner.
8th, 9th, and 10th right there in front of you. Mayfield, Nemechek, Ernie Irvin. Still early if you're just joining us. And there are friends from Meritor bringing you the telemetry on the Jeremy Mayfield car. Meritor, makers of complete drive trains, formerly Rockwell International, sponsoring our telemetry for you. Jeff Gordon has just come to the stripe. He is the leader at lap number 50. So if you're going to participate in that TNN, take home a piece of the action sweepstakes, you want to write down on your entry that it was Mark Martin leading at lap number 50 of the MBNA, excuse me, Jeff Gordon, I should say, leading at lap number 50 of the MBNA Platinum 400.
I was just looking at RPMs there, and 8,800 down at the far end of the straightaway, and you can see the speed as they get near the end of the straightaway, 175 down at the far end of the straightaway.
On a 1 mile racetrack.
You can almost feel you can almost feel the pain on those connecting rods. That's a lot of pressure to put an engine under.
Talking about the people from Meritor, I was a guest speaker for them out in Texas last year. A nice group of people. Jim Cooper is the representative for that company, and we want to thank them for providing telemetry for us.
Sure do, and we are at lap number 52, riding with Jeremy Mayfield right there, the number 12. He is in 8th, and there you see the spread up front. Left of your screen, Jeff Gordon. Dale Jarrett is not the next car in line. That's Ward Burton a lap down. There's Dale. There's Mark Martin. It's 1 1/10 second from the leader back to Jarrett. 1 6/10 from the leader back to Mark Martin. Then 2.9 seconds from Batman Gordon all the way back to Rusty Wallace, who's running 4th.
Ward Burton there in the 22. You watched him make a pit stop not long ago.
Ward Burton, yeah. 2 laps down right now as we go to Matt Yoakum.
The unscheduled pit stop for Ward Burton was because he cut down a tire. You can see the chalk outline. Punctures on a hole right there. You can see the air spewing out. He did go 1.5 laps for 2 laps down, but the inner liner held up. Good job by the Goodyear tire engineers.
So Ward does lose 2 laps in the exchange. He's now 37th on the racetrack.
Still fast, though. Still able to keep up with Gordon and not having any problem staying in front of Jarrett.
There's Dale Earnhardt now in 22nd spot.
We have a replay of a couple of laps ago with Earnhardt. A little thing happened on the racetrack.
Take a look. This is a couple of laps ago. Schrader and Earnhardt.
Oh, you can see Dale fights to get control of the car as he got tagged in the left rear corner there. Good car control by Dale Earnhardt.
He said practice.
Earnhardt is 14 seconds behind the race leader, Jeff Gordon. He also has, as you can see, riding with Bill Elliott, a fierce competitor right on his tail. We're 57 laps complete of 400. The King's car is still out there. John Andretti is 19th. Mr. Mile from overhead, the Duralube aerial camera shots for you here today, and that's Jeff Gordon, who has led the majority of the laps thus far. He is 1 3/10 seconds behind second place. That's not second place. That's Dave Marcus. He's gone a lap down. There's your second place man, Mark Martin. 1 2/10 seconds now behind Gordon. There's Dale Jarrett, the 88 car. He's running in third. Fourth place is Rusty Wallace. It'll be a while till he comes along. There's Ward Burton going by, and there's Rusty right there. He is 4.5 seconds behind the leader. Fourth place, 4.5 seconds back. Great run for Rick Mast. He's 4.8 seconds back in the Remington entry. Good run. Rick always runs well here at Dover Downs. Then you've got the 12 car, Jeremy Mayfield. He's running 6th. And a nice call also to the next man in line, who's going to be Buckshot Jones. Took over the Circuit City Stavola Brothers ride. He's a goodly distance back there. There's Buckshot, 9 seconds back of Jeff Gordon. But in his second career Winston Cup race, he was in Atlanta. He's doing himself proud.
Yeah, and there he is in the top 10 running in a Winston Cup race here. Doing a good job.
You've got Ricky Rudd running in 8th. There's Ricky right there, winner here a year ago. And you go further back to 9th place. Good run for Kenny Irwin, and Jeff Burton now running right behind him in 10th.
And Irwin is a raw rookie at this racetrack. He just saw it for the very first time on Thursday afternoon. Never took a lap around here until practice on Thursday.
Now we take even further back. You've got Ernie Irvin running in 11th. There's Ernie in that multicolored Skittles car. And Dick Trickle trying to take advantage of that wide move and grab 11th. He does. So Dick Trickle will grab the spot away. So you move Dick up into the 11th spot. Ernie is 12th. There's Joe Nemechek. He's running in 13th. You see how these guys are taking the turns now, buddy? What do they call that? Diamonding the turn just a bit?
That's exactly right. They're going in low into the corner, then the middle part of the corner, let the car go up in the center, and then cut back down and come off low off the corner. You can see Michael Waltrip right there. He comes back down the racetrack to come off the corner.
Michael Waltrip 15.5 seconds back. You saw Terry Labonte. There's Lake Speed 16 7/10 seconds behind the race leader. And you're back to 17th spot. That's John Andretti, who's going to be challenged by Jimmy Spencer in just a moment. Jimmy's closing in, running a bit quicker than Andretti right now on the clocks. There's Spencer in 18th spot. David Green, the 96 car. He's running 19th, and Mike Skinner right there in the 31. He's in 20th position. Bill Elliott running 21st with Kenny Schrader 22nd. They are 19.8 seconds behind Jeff Gordon, the race leader. And there's Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Brett Bodine in the number 11. They are 23rd, 24th, 25th spot. And then further back, there's Kevin LePage in that blue number 91. And Derek Cope, a former winner here. Sterling Marlin in the 40. That's back to 28th position.
Eli, these guys have got to go just a half a straightaway back. Jeff Gordon's coming, trying to put these guys down.
Bobby Hamilton right there. Then Jeff Bodine. Ted Musgrave going by Bodine now. And you pull on back, Rich Bickle, and there's the leader. So we've taken you all the way around on the Duralube camera. You know exactly where everybody's running, and Rich Bickle about to go a lap down in 33rd spot. And, you know, Glenn, I don't know if you talked to Ray Evernham at the hotel, saw him this morning. We said, all right, how you guys going to be doing? Well, I don't know how good we are. He was bad-mouthing before we even left the hotel at 6:15 this morning.
Oh, you're exactly right, Eli. And I talked to him in the garage area this morning. I got the same reaction. I don't really know. And he moped around a little bit and wouldn't really tell me anything. And I said, in other words, Ray, you guys are real, real good today. He just laughed and said, well, we'll see. They are. One of their concerns is, though, that they're starting to race on stickers. That's about all they had back there were new tires. But they went and got a set of scuffs from the end of the joint. They think the scuff may be the way to go. The air pressure seems to be fluctuating a little bit on the sticker tires when they put them on. So they're looking for scuffs right now. They got one set from LaJoy. They have one set left from practice. I imagine they'll be looking for more.
Eli, the real problem right now, Jeff Gordon just looked in the mirror. Mark Martin is on a run right now. You see he is closing down on Jeff Gordon. He's got it down to about a 10-car length lead. And a while ago, Gordon was a good half a straightaway ahead.
Right. It's only 0.6 of a second Going wide around Jeff Bodine, putting the Phillips car a lap down. That's 32nd spot that's being lapped right there.
Blew by him on the outside. Mark Martin's doing the same thing.
We are live at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. 76 laps of 400 complete. Jeff Gordon leads. We are coming right back. Definite lap number 10. Johnny Benson spun. Backstretch narrowed up for everybody, including Randy LaJoy and Kyle and Robert Presley and Chad Little and a host of others. Lap number 32, it was a straight line into the wall for Kenny Wallace. He's okay, but the car apparently done. We are live at Dover Downs International Speedway. We talk about the straight line for Kenny Wallace. We've got all the straight liners for you coming up at 6 o'clock Eastern time tonight. The Fram Route 66 Nationals. Bob Fry, Steve Evans, the whole crew standing by, and they've got live coverage of that inaugural event near Chicago. Check it out later today, 6 o'clock Eastern time. NHRA Winston Drag Racing right here on TNN Motorsports.
Jeff Gordon knifing through some very, very good race cars right now. The 4 car there, Bobby Hamilton going a lap down. Sterling Marlin in the 40 right now, looking in the mirror. He sees nothing but Jeff Gordon in the mirror, and just behind him, Mark Martin.
Yeah, and guess who's just ahead of that number 40 car? It's the Intimidator, Earnhardt.
Dale's running 26th. 27th just goes a lap down, and you saw right there Earnhardt taking a much wider line in the corner.
Yeah, right now Gordon's so much quicker than Earnhardt. You see Earnhardt's car going way up the racetrack. Gordon holding the middle part of the racetrack. As they start off, he can hold the lower line. But I'll tell you one thing, he just moves over and lets Gordon go by on the outside. He realizes he has a much quicker car right now. I was going to say that Earnhardt was probably fighting, but he did not. He got over and let him go.
Meanwhile, this guy we're riding with, Rick Mast, just got around Rusty Wallace and took over the 4th spot as we bring that telemetry in. That is sponsored by Meritor, the makers of heavy-duty transmissions.
Interesting story on that car. The owner of that team, Butch Mock, wanted to bring a different car to this racetrack, but the crew and the driver said, nah, how about the car that we ran at Charlotte? Well, it really wasn't a rocket at Charlotte, but the very first time we had practice here this weekend, that car was the very fastest of anybody on the racetrack, and Butch Mock was saying to the crew, you guys are pretty smart after all.
You could see he was dropping down to about 6,800 in the corner and almost 8,800 down the straightaway.
And their 5th place just changed. You saw that. Jeremy Mayfield got around Rusty Wallace. So the Penske fellas battling right there. Mayfield takes the spot. Rusty Wallace now settles for 6th. And behind them, Jeff Burton is now up to 7th. Remember Jeff earlier? Backslid, then went to the front. They made the adjustments. He came out 14th. He's now all the way up to 7th. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Yeah, guys, we're seeing Rusty Wallace. He has fallen from 4th to 6th. Robin Pemberton tells me that the car is just a little bit tight. After it finally settled in and they got a good read off of that last set of tires they put on, the car has wound up being just a little too tight to his liking. That's the reason he's dropping back.
And remember that Jeremy Mayfield finished 4th in this race a year ago, and he missed winning by just 10 car lengths on that afternoon. Matt Yoakum.
Eli Frank started the crew chief for Jeff Burton, made the most of that caution flag when they came down to go 3 separate times. They topped the car off the field, made some chassis adjustments. Now the car is really, really good. Jeff says, look, don't think much on the next stop. Maybe a half a pound because we're just a little bit loose, but the car is really coming in. As far as Rick Mast, his car has also gone a little bit to the loose side. Rusty Wallace is holding him up. We're going to also make an air pressure adjustment on the next stop.
If you're a Chad Little fan, he's coming back out of the garage. He'll be 79 laps down. But if you cheer for the John Deere green, your man's back on the racetrack. 79 laps back after the accident on lap number 10.
Eli, there's our colleague from yesterday in the 1 car, Darrell Waltrip, leading this group down the front straightaway. You can see Rick Mast right now trying to get by him. Darrell's still trying very, very hard, but I think he's off the pace a little bit as far as the front runners.
Darrell finished 3rd here on that final asphalt track race. But as he admitted to us yesterday,
on the bottom up here.
He said, I just can't get a grab of the concrete.
There you go. We're looking inside, lead lap car, clear behind lead lap car right there.
You listen into Darrell's radio right there as Rick Mast gets in line, the lead lap car. just ahead of Darrell Waltrip.
Get that rhythm back. Pick up some more.
Coaching him through the corners. Keep wondering how long is it going to take for Jeremy Mayfield to finally win one of these things in the number 12. 5 top 5s this year. His teammate Rusty Wallace has had 6 top 5s. Neither one of them has driven into victory lane except for Wallace's win at Daytona in the Bud Shootout. Those are overdue.
There you see the RPMs, 7,000, 7,500. Rick Mast's speed now at 160, 170, just over 175 going into the corner.
Eli, that was pretty interesting as he started in the corner. He got a little wheel spin just there and almost turned 9,000 getting in the corner that particular lap.
That doesn't help the engine any. Mast has got a really strange record for this race. He has DNF'd here every other year since 1990. 90, 92, 94, 96 he had a DNF. Maybe he won't do it this year. They had a leak in the engine, believe it or not, during practice. Pulled that engine out. Maybe that's the end of his troubles and he'll break this streak.
Hopefully so. The only other engine change we saw this morning was on the 28 car of Kenny Irwin. There's Jeff Gordon, the leader, about to put Kenny Schrader a lap down, while Jack Roush sees his driver, Mark Martin, run second. Here at Dover Downs International Speedway, a piece of metal right there in the middle of the racing groove, and NASCAR has thrown the caution here at lap number 100. Even an innocent-looking beverage can with thin racing tires, that is enough to propel someone towards the wall. So cautions on the speedway. Quick reminder, folks, when we move aside right after the race, a special post-race edition of Race Day. All the activity that's taken place over the weekend, they'll be updating you, all the highlights, interviews, and a whole lot more. It's all coming your way right after our race here on TNN Motorsports, a special post-race edition of Race Day. Pit stops, lap 102, because of the caution for debris.
Eli, if you want to know who's the lap down, they're still on the racetrack. All these cars are on the lead lap.
Glenn Jarrett.
And here they come. They're waiting upon Gordon and Mark Martin. They're pitted right together. Rusty Wallace on in front of them. Gordon's out. Remember, his car was getting just a little bit loose, so they're going to take this opportunity maybe to tighten him up, snug him up just a little bit. 4 tire change of fuel for both cars. Now, this time, they ran 65 laps under green, so they got a little better read off of what the cars will do on a longer run. Gordon is down and away. Great pit stop for Jeff Gordon. Mark Martin down. Again, he and Dale Jarrett side by side going out for second and third.
Drag race off pit road. There's Rusty Wallace finishing his service.
You can see a tire in the middle of pit road. All the cars saw it in plenty of time. The guy's getting it off right now, but it was laying right in the way.
That's from the Heilig Myers team, the Judy Donlevy owned entry. Let's go to Steve Burns. He was watching Jeremy Mayfield stop.
And a good indication that Jeremy Mayfield is indeed hooked up on the racetrack, Eli. They took 4 tires, sticker tires, brand new ones that is, and they made no adjustments to that car. So Jeremy Mayfield, at this point in the race, has a good chassis set up underneath of him. Matt Yoakum?
A 18.47 pit stop for Rick Mast and company. They took on 4 tires. He'd gone 66 laps on that set of tires. Remember, we told you the car was a little bit loose when he was trying to battle Rusty Wallace. Once he got by, then the car started to go back tight. They did not make any adjustments to the car. He said the car's a little tight, but I like it the way it is. Eli?
Now, what was that, a Rockbridge Baths, Virginia version of an air conditioner?
Rick Mast was putting an ice pack down in his uniform, right near the hard area. Let me tell you, that is just as good as any air conditioner. When you can cool the area right around the hard area, it keeps the whole body cool.
Sure does. Same thing with the top of your head and around your neck and the wrist area. Anything to cool you down. It's in the 90s here at Dover today. A warm day. The fans are enjoying it. We're under caution back in a moment. We are set to go back racing in the exchange of pit stops. Jimmy Spencer stayed out a lap longer than everyone else. Picks up his 5 bonus points. But But Glenn, Jeff Gordon's back at the head of the class.
Yes, he is, Eli. And as I told you while they made the pit stop, his car was just a little bit loose, so they made a half-pound air pressure adjustment on it. Meanwhile, Mark Martin in second, his car was a little bit tight, so they made a half-pound air pressure adjustment in the other direction. Rusty Wallace, meanwhile, remember I told you he was pushing? They made a big adjustment on him, took a 1/3 spring rubber out of the right front to try to loosen that car up a little bit. Here's Steve Burns.
Glenn, Dick Trickle had a great run. He put the 90 car into the top 10, but they had a tire get loose on pit road during that pit stop. He has to go to the tail end of the longest lap. The team wanted to say get well as we go green to David Boland. He's better known as Wolfie. He's been with the team for 25 years. He's been in a Richmond hospital. He's had an irregular heartbeat, and they're hoping to see him next week in Richmond, the hometown of the 90 race team.
Boy, you see them all get stacked up. Lake Speed never came up to speed. That is he on the right there, inside groove, nearly stacked up the world behind him.
That could have been a very bad situation, and an awful lot of race drivers showed great patience and great judgment in getting around Lake Speed. It was 3 wide back there.
Jeff Gordon has Mike Skinner ahead of him now on the tail end of the lead lap. So the leader is 24. The 31, Mike Skinner, running in 20th. He's on the tail end of the lead lap. And you're riding with second place, Mark Martin.
It'll be interesting to see if Skinner can stay on the lead lap. Doesn't look it.
Nope. Jeff Gordon goes to the very bottom of the racetrack. Mark Martin just behind him. Skinner goes down.
Gordon is so tough today, but he has been so tough at this racetrack for quite a while. He has led the last 6 Dovers in a row. Coming into today, he had led over 1,000 laps of 3,000. Led more than 1/3 of the laps that have been run here in the last 6 races, and he's just padding that right now.
Lake Speed has been on the racetrack's pit road for right side tires. So apparently cut a tire on that restart. But he is now back out. But nevertheless, he's all the way back in 37th position. So if you're following Lake Speed after the stop, he's back in 37th as we ride with Rich Bickle looking rearward.
Wow. When you see that number 3 like he's running right now on fresh tires, you can see him run up on Bickle getting in the corner. He's going to get by pretty quick. I guarantee you, Rich has got one eye in the mirror, one eye on the racetrack.
Bickle's in 29th, and let's see how his numbers compared on the telemetry there from Meritor compared maybe to Rick Mast earlier.
Oh, do you see him down there? No, he shut the door on Earnhardt. You can see Earnhardt was just about up far enough where he knew he was there, but not enough to make that decision to take the place away.
They head into turn 3.
Steve Grissom had some sparks flying out of that car.
We almost had sparks flying out of our TV screen.
Yeah, we sure did. Bet Cale Yarborough's watching this real close. He won here 3 times and owns that car.
Major problem on the main straightaway. Some exhaust pipes have just blown off one of the cars here at the start-finish line.
I'll bet it was Steve Grissom because the white car definitely had sparks coming out from under it when they passed him just now.
The car came off turn 4, lost something right there, and then the exhaust pipes went across the track and ended up against the GMC and Pontiac sign that is just inside the track past the start-finish line. And quickly NASCAR threw the caution with that problem. I tell you, it's been an eventful day, and that's for darn sure.
It has that. When you get the exhaust pipe off like that, that puts an extreme amount of heat up in the driver's compartment, too. Grissom's in for a long, hot day today. There's the object you were talking about, part of the exhaust system.
It flew off the car, skittered across the racetrack, and right there has come to rest.
That's the whole tailpipe assembly.
The whole pipe assembly.
Yeah. Depending on what they're going to pick up of the rest of that exhaust system, he may not be able to finish the day. That could cook the engine.
See the sparks coming out from under the 41 car. There goes a piece out from under the car as they start off the corner there, and then the exhaust itself came out.
Watch it again. There goes one piece.
See, there's the sparks I was talking about as Earnhardt goes by on the inside there.
And the entire rest of the assembly will also come out of the car and skitter to a stop right there. All right, pit stops now. Jeff Burton's been in. Let's get an update.
Jeff Burton's down and away, already down pit road. Frank Stoddard reminding him the pit road speed 35 miles per hour. He had a flat right front tire. He had a vibration. So this caution came at the best time for Jeff Burton.
So we're under caution, lap 113. Jeff Gordon leads. Ray Evernham likes the view, but he also knows we're not even to halfway at the Monster Mile. Hey, folks, you see that address? www.tnnracing.com. So many of you have accessed country.com to get the in-car camera feed from today's MBNA Platinum 400 that we've opened up yet another computer site for you. So if you had trouble logging on at country.com or everything was busy, www.tnnracing.com. Do check it out, and you can take a good look at the in-car cameras throughout the course of the day. And we are set to go racing. Again, the reason we're under caution was the Steve Grissom problem right there. They finally found the entire exhaust assembly, everything. Tailpipe assembly, everything. And that's hot, too. With broom handles and gloves, they got her up on the truck. Green flag is in the air.
Muscle again. He
so what
is
else is
so
there?
tough. Yeah, I know. But you know, you got to hand it to this team. Every week, race after race after race, they are a story.
But I believe Mark's going to start to rumble right here.
Yep. I think Mark's about ready to check him out for tough right now. He's looking him over. He's dead behind him right now on his tire track, looking for a weakness right now. The one weakness that got him by last year was Jeff Gordon could not stay on the bottom part of the racetrack in the center part of the corner. You can see Mark Martin a little bit lower, but he didn't gain the ground like he did last year getting in the corner.
You realize that in the 1990s, in this decade, only Dale Earnhardt has amassed more points than has Mark Martin.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Do you realize that in 1998, no professional race driver anywhere in the world has won as much as this man in the number 6? He has won 6 times, and now he's got the lead here at Dover.
So Mark Martin makes the move. You see NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen, brought to you by MCI. 10, 3, 2, 1. Just dial it up and save 50%. Mark Martin is the race leader.
Here comes Jeff Gordon back on the bottom side. You can see the 6 car, the lead car, push out in the center part of the corner there. Jeff Gordon taking advantage of it, turning to the bottom and going right by.
Yeah, DJ's no slouch either. He's right back there, too.
That's the same passing we were talking about on our pre-race show back around 11:45 this morning.
But, you know, you think about Mark Martin, 3 Winston Cup wins. He won the Winston here the other night, by the way, in that exact same car. It's a new paint job, but that's the same car. And then last weekend, a Busch Grand National race in Charlotte. Been strong all year.
There's Jimmy Spencer now running in 19th. Jimmy came into pit at lap 103 and then came in again at lap 114 for an unscheduled stop. Let's get a report from down in the Winston pit.
Okay, Eli, as you noted, Jimmy Spencer made an unscheduled pit stop. He is the last car on the lead lap. He was very, very tight, so they brought the 23 in. Donnie Wingo, the crew chief, had the team insert a spring rubber in the right rear, saying the car was extremely tight.
So that was the update on Spencer. As you look from the Duralube aerial cameras overhead, Michael Waltrip struggling to get back down in line.
Eli, this is about as good a time as any to explain tight and loose. For the people that haven't watched racing a lot, when you talk about a car being tight, that means that you turn the wheel, you don't get the response, the grip that you need with the front wheel. When you say it's loose, it means the back wheel is sliding across the surface.
What did our old broadcasting buddy, the late Neil Bonnet, say about being pushing and tight?
Well, he said it was pretty simple. When you're pushing, you see the wreck.
That's what made Neil so special. Jimmy Spencer. After that stop, now running in 19th position.
You know, he led that lap under caution a little while ago. It seems hard to believe, but of the 16 starts he had made prior to today, hadn't led a lap. So in start number 17, he got his first at Dover.
See Dale Earnhardt right there. If you're just joining us, he went down a lap early. He's now in 26th position. Car just hasn't been staying down low as best he'd like.
Eli, I don't know what the problem is, but this is not the Dale Earnhardt we're all used to seeing. And you know he hadn't lost the ability to drive the car. And you know that Larry McReynolds is doing everything possible. The chemistry right now is just not good for these two guys.
There you see the battle for the lead one more time as Mark Martin tries to grab it right back from Jeff Gordon.
Jeff gives him room. Here comes Mark, side by side, coming off the corner.
Yeah, for how long?
Well, at least to the stripe this time, the lead will swap around at lap 128. Glenn Jarrett, how uncomfortable was Earnhardt before? It looked to me, as he said on our pre-race coverage, he didn't have a good night. He really looked kind of out of sorts.
Eli, you're exactly right. While you guys were talking about him, I wanted to add to remember he is very, very sore. And this racetrack with the tremendous speed with which you go into the turns and through the turns, there's a lot of G-forces that work on you. I could see the pain in Dale's eyes. He was hurting big time, and I've got a feeling that's got a lot to do with the way that car is performing on the racetrack today. It takes a real man to stay out there in the kind of pain that he's in. He was hurting.
Because think about it. Here's a guy who finished in the top 5 in both events in '95. He was 3rd in June of '96. He's led a lot of laps here. Just not doing it today.
Eli, Glenn made a very, very good comment, but I'm watching the car, and we have the advantage of being able to see the center part of the corner. I know Earnhardt's sore, but the car will not stay down at all. You can see he's almost out of the groove in the middle part of the corner, hunting somewhere for the car to hook up.
Matt, what are you hearing from down there?
He's hunting for the car to go loose, Eli, and he has not found that at all. This car has been tight all race long. They have tried various adjustments to try to loosen it up. The last stop, they pulled out a spring rubber. Dale says the car is still way too tight.
Well, you also think about the trouble that he has been through, the difficult situations he has been through in the last several weeks. He has been through 7 races with torn-up race cars, including the Winston. 3 of those race cars were so badly torn up that Larry McReynolds couldn't save him at all by clipping the nose or clipping the tail end. This guy has really been through some hard hits in the last month and a half. Burton all the way up to 13th from 37th in that 99 car. He's having a good run this afternoon.
There's Bill Elliott on the rumble right there in the number 94. He's running in 15th position. We're riding with Bill right now.
Eli, speaking of Bill Elliott, I talked to Mike Beam earlier this week, and last week they begged him to get out of the car at Charlotte. They said, don't make the hole bigger than we already are in by getting hurt maybe at Charlotte. Put that Jeff Green in the car and go for it.
Getting back to Dale Earnhardt for a moment as Jeff Burton goes by. There's a great comparison. The first 5 races of this year to Dick, what you were talking about in the last 6 races. Look at that. Average finished 10. Average finished 24th with 2 DNFs in the last 6 races.
Well, he went 54 races from the July 96 Talladega race to April 98 without a DNF. He's now got 2 DNFs in his last 3 starts. I mean, when it goes away, it goes away.
Bill Elliott making the pass on Earnhardt right in the center part of the corner. They were able to hold that low line. Bill's making recovery. He did not look very hurt at all walking through the garage area. Last week could barely limp around.
Both of those drivers have so many fans here at Dover. He'd love to see them both do just great.
135 laps on the board. 400 make up the total distance. As we are live at Dover Downs on TNN Motorsport. Martin, as we are midway through the MBNA Platinum 400. NASCAR Thunder. The all-new and official stores of NASCAR. They're all over the country right now. And the best way for you to check out where the nearest one is to you is by calling that number you see on the screen Monday through Friday. They'll give you all the details you need as to where you can get the latest line of officially licensed NASCAR merchandise. NASCAR Thunder, the official store of NASCAR. riding with Mark Martin right there. Well, I don't know if you can see that in-car camera shot again. What was that fluttering? You see that right there on the left of the screen? It's been there a while, I think. See, something's flapping in the breeze.
Eli, that's a very small piece of tape that they put on the top part of the windshield there to keep the sun glare out. It's 200-mile-an-hour tape to give up at 175.
Always the scientific explanation from Buddy Baker. Nothing to explain about that guy. He's 0.3 of a second ahead of the man in second spot, Mark Martin. There you see Mark in your screen. Dale Jarrett runs third. He is 2 9/10 seconds further back. They're widening back and waiting to see Jarrett and waiting. And there's 2.9 seconds on this monster mile. Jeremy Mayfield is another 3 seconds back. The entire back straightaway, basically, so you get to the Mobil 1 team right there, Jeremy Mayfield. And Rick Mast is still running well in fifth. There he is in that yellow and red number 75, the green trim as well. But he's already 7 6/10 seconds behind the leader, Gordon. Schrader's in there, Kenny, the number 33 car. He's running back in 20th spot. He's a lap down. Taking you further back, you've got the 40 car for Sterling Marlin. Sterling not really been a huge factor. He's in 21st, a lap down. And there's Rusty Wallace, number 2. He's running in 6th, 8 seconds behind the leader. Then Ricky Rudd. And how about Bobby Labonte, guys, right there? Started, what, in 36th? And Bobby's now running 8th right there with that battle ongoing with Ricky Rudd.
I tell you, he's been one of the fastest cars out there. Like you say, starting in 36 to being very, very careful not to get caught up in early wrecks in this race. Bobby Labonte never counted out in any long race.
Well, they didn't qualify well. They were just playing too tight qualifying, but they changed a couple things, like the wedge, the springs, the sway bar, the track bar, and all other things that they could find to change in that race car. Jimmy Maycar's got it set up, and he's doing really well.
And it gives him 7th spot right there, and indeed a concrete contender, as we had talked on the pre-race show. Last 6 races since they've gone to the concrete. Look at that. Throw out June of 97. That clearly was an anomaly, as they say. Everything else, man, it's impressive. So there you have it. Bobby in 7th, Ricky Rudd behind him in 8th. Let's take you further back as we let you know exactly where everybody is. You've got the lapped car right there, Ted Musgrave, car number 16. He's in 22nd spot. Further back, there's Ernie Irvin now. Ernie's in 9th. He's in car 36. And then good run still for Buckshot Jones in 10th. Buckshot's 13 seconds off the leader, but not bad in his second NASCAR Winston Cup race. And he's going to go for 9th as he tried high on Ernie Irvin.
Trying to pass a very good race car driver. Ernie Irvin's always run well. Buckshot making a move on the inside. Hey, guys, he's for real. I thought when he moved up, he might have took a little too big a bite, but hey, he's there.
Let me ask a very difficult question. What does this mean as far as this team? Do they say, we just couldn't communicate with the last driver? Because Hutt's a qualified driver, certainly. What goes on in everybody's mind now after they make a driver change and here they're running 9th?
Let me tell you something. Hutt Strickland is a very, very talented race car driver. Sometimes the chemistry just does not work, and you have to make a change. That's what I know the Stravola brothers said. Hey, it's not working. We need to get up front, but certainly not because of Hutt Strickland.
And I saw Hutt here this weekend. He's already been contacted by a couple of teams for a potential driver change yet to come.
And you know, it would be no surprise at all to see both this Stravola team do better and to see Hutt Strickland do better. Buddy, you're absolutely right. Chemistry is such a vital ingredient. Everybody being able to communicate with everybody else and just having everybody mesh ever so well is critical in this league.
Glenn Jarrett's been hanging out around the Stravola brothers pit area today. Glenn?
Yeah, they have done a great job. You know, they used some pit strategy there. They stayed out one time, pitted early, and then stayed out. And Buckshot has been able to maintain. Now, he will run that car next week at Richmond. Then the following week at Pocono, he and his team are leaving here and going to Pocono tomorrow to run their own Winston Cup car to test it. So right now, Buckshot is scheduled to drive his own car at Pocono. We'll see what the cards hold.
That will be interesting. So again, there's Ricky Rudd in 8th, Buckshot Jones in 9th. Behind them in 10th is number 99. There's Jeff Burton, who has just been, he's probably passed more cars today than anybody else on the racetrack.
Well, he's had kind of an unusual pit strategy. He was back in the pits again on lap 114, picked up some more tires and some more fuel, but, you know, that put him in the back of the serial order, and he's had to go back through these guys again.
That was not a piece of junk coming off turn 2 there. That was Robert Presley, who's had to cut a bunch of fenders and stuff off and got back in the race. He was caught up in a very early wreck earlier on in today.
You guys might have also seen the leaders just went by Robert Presley moments ago. Robert's back on the track after that early accident, 136 laps down. But that Jasper team's going to get whatever NASCAR Winston Cup points they can. There is Jeff Gordon, still leading by car lengths over Mark Martin. We're at lap 154. And there's the tape room.
Not me. He's the older one. Older but faster. Yeah, right.
Well, who is turning 50?
NASCAR is. And Excite NASCAR Select is celebrating with the Big 50 celebration. Win NASCAR race tickets or the grand prize.
An MBNA MasterCard worth $50,000.
Thanks. I'll be right back.
Hey, we're finished.
The Big 50 celebration. Enter wherever Excite NASCAR Select is sold.
Oh, well.
Romance and Roscoe P. Coltrane. Don't miss the Dukes of Hazzard. See it weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on America's Country Home, TNN. Hey, boss. That's what Darrell says. He goes round Dale Earnhardt. Now, the 24 is the race leader. Darrell's already a couple of laps down in the 1 car, but he don't want to go another lap down. He's going to work as hard as he can, but at the same time, not hold up the race leader.
Earnhardt's fighting back on the outside there. Jeff Gordon got into him just a little bit. There was light contact between he and Earnhardt as Jeff Gordon gets by finally there. But, boy, I tell you, he fought back trying to keep that lap.
And he's not going to hand it to Mark Martin either. You see him duck right in front of Martin, but Earnhardt just can't keep it down to the corners, and Martin's on by.
Good battle for the lead, and that's really the best anybody's been able to hang with Jeff Gordon all day. Jeff has led much of the afternoon. If you're just joining us, Rusty Wallace led the first 3 laps, Gordon the next 30. Jeff Burton led 4 laps, Gordon the next 60. Spencer led a lap, Gordon the next 16. Mark Martin led a lap, then Gordon for 6, then Martin for 1. And now a grand total of 151 laps that Gordon has led of the 165 that we have run. 151 of 165.
That is absolutely incredible, and you can see why. The car has absolutely no ill effects in the corner. It goes exactly where he wants to. And communication, we were talking about that with Hut Strickland and guys. That communication between Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon is like brothers anymore. They work so closely every race time that it works.
And you can see how well they're running from the Duralube camera overhead in our helicopter. I mean, they're just, they're not missing a beat. If there has to be something done, they can communicate so well, but probably haven't had to say a word all day.
Just as I said, that Jeff Gordon's car almost went up in the first set of bleachers there in the corner. The car went very, very high. I think he got in the corner a little bit hard and slid up.
There you see the Winston Cup garage on the left of the screen. There's a good ongoing run for Rick Mast in car number 75. The 33, Ken Schrader. He's back in 20th spot, a lap down.
Mast is in 5th. He has had a big day today.
And there's the number 2 for Rusty Wallace. That is 5th and 6th right there. Rusty again starting on the butt pole today.
Absolutely 2 different driving styles right now. You can see the 2 hugging the lower part of the racetrack. Everybody else having to go high. Good race cars are running low right now.
Oh, Jeff Gordon still's not gotten around Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah, isn't Darrell doing a great job? I mean, he did this in Charlotte, too. Just hanging on, hanging on, hanging on. The leader can't get by him. It's fun to watch Darrell Waltrip race hard again. It really is.
You guys, I made a comment last week. If you think he's over the hill, it's a nice hill to be over because he knows how to still drive a race car.
Yes, he does. And this has been a good ride for him. Not qualifying all that well, but once he gets into the race and they get the car sorted out and he gets it adjusted to suit him, he's as fast as anybody.
No working race traffic is the race leader, Jeff Gordon. Still can't get around Darrell Walton. He's got the 18th place runner, Kenny Irwin, ahead of him. Continues as the race leader here at the Monster Mile. Mark Martin rides in second, just as you see, 0.2 of a second back. Third, Dale Jarrett. Fourth is Jeremy Mayfield, and fifth is Rick Mast. There's a good look at Derek Cope and the Gumout team, the 1990 winner here. Matt, they were in at lap 167, then a stop-and-go penalty for excessive speed at lap 168. They were back in at lap 173. What's going on there?
Eli, a couple unscheduled pit stops for Derek Cope. He was complaining the car had a vibration. They came down pit road, made a four-tire stop. He went back out, ran a few laps, and called in and said, guys, the vibration is still there. Doug Hewitt didn't want to take any chances. He called Derek back in. They took on 4 new tires. At this juncture, he's waiting to see if that vibration has indeed disappeared.
Meanwhile, watch this battle. You're riding with Rick Mast right here. He and Rusty Wallace, 5th and 6th, had to settle out there for a second around Kenny Schrader, but there's Rusty right behind. One of the best battles on the racetrack right now. As the telemetry you see being brought to you by America, makers of heavy-duty axles.
77, slow up high.
Doctor, what you talked about earlier, they're getting so much grip out of the corner. You could hear Rick Mast actually roll out of the accelerator as he come off the corner to make the car turn because it was getting so much rear grip coming up out of the corner.
But at least when you're pushing like that, you can control the car. When the car is loose, it's just ever so easy to completely lose control of it and hit that wall. Mast up higher. Wallace down a little lower.
You could hear him ease out the throttle just a little bit up out of the corner.
Yep. Now we're into turn 3. Rusty closed right in on him.
And you see right behind Rusty, you can just see the nose of the 99 also. That's Jeff Burton coming at you. He blew past Bobby Labonte before and has closed in on and now gone past Rusty Wallace. We're riding with Jeff Burton.
Boy, that car is doing anything he wants it to. He just went down in the lower part of the racetrack. You see him put Marcus away right there in the center part of the corner. Went by Rusty Wallace. Pretty effortless.
A lot of people had...
Nobody's passed more cars today than Jeff Burton.
That's sure. And a lot of people have been wondering what happened to Jeff Burton. You know, he really kind of started the year out in a hole with a blown engine at Daytona. Then he had another one let go at Talladega. He went 30 laps down at Martinsville with an early crash. And Buddy Parrott said this morning that what happened to them is the harder they tried to play catch-up, the further behind they got. So they all just sort of sat down and said, let's cool it. Let's just go right into our normal game plan, see how it works. Looks like it's working pretty well.
It really is. This is their Bristol car. He qualified 5th there and finished 4th. I guess one of those concrete cars, huh, buddy?
Concrete cars, exactly right. And I said, what makes a concrete car? They said, we put a little more enforcement on the bars in it where it does not flex as much. Also, we raise the frame rail and lower the body, so we go through templars at the right height.
Going around Jimmy Spencer. There's the spread for the lead. Don't want to forget about those guys. 0.4 of a second there as we close in on pit stops shortly. Who's hot? Jeff Gordon is. He grabs the lead from Rusty Wallace at lap 4. He does the same from Jeff Burton at lap 40. And the same from Mark Martin at lap 121. Jeff Burton's the man everybody's been chasing. And they still are. We welcome you back live to the Monster Mile. Pit stops are underway. Rusty Wallace has been in. Lake Speed is in now for his service. We're at lap 189, closing in on stops for all of the race leaders. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Bergman, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns with you here on TNN Motorsports.
One thing to keep your eye on. Entrance to pit road has been very, very...
Trouble on the racetrack. Turn 2, David Green. And the Caterpillar car goes into the wall. Right front tire gone, whether it was prior to or as a result of the accident, we don't know. But we are under caution for the 5th time. David Green running up in 24th position at the time of the accident.
There's David Green out of the car. Good sight. See him walking around there.
A little wobbly. He's out.
Yeah, he's a little wobbly. It was hard. Hey, there's no such thing as a light hit here, except if you're running like Harry Gant used to up against the wall, and even those aren't easy.
Eli, he hit it at the right angle, but it pancaked the right side of that car. I mean, just tore it all to pieces.
David Green brings out the caution. Now, Rusty had already pitted under Green. Remember that. So had Lake Speed. Rich Bickle was caught on pit road. And there's Rusty now in 26th position, 2 laps down, because he stopped under the green, and no sooner had he exited pit road than the other Green, David Green, went into the wall and brought out the yellow. I mean, it's a game of timing also sometimes.
And that's just plain luck.
Yeah.
You know.
Bad luck, but luck.
Nemechek as well. In the left side of your screen there, he also had just pitted before this yellow flag, and he also is going to pay quite the price for having done so. One of the reasons they try to go as far as they possibly can, just assuming something like that might happen. You can have the fastest car in the race, but if you lose a couple of laps on a deal like that, which is just luck, doesn't matter.
See David Green going to the ambulance. Yeah, Joe Nemechek pitted at 183. Rusty at 185. You had Mike Skinner and Chad Little pitting at lap 187. Lake Speed and Rich Bickle hit. And that is where the area around where the car.
Wow. He moved a mountain.
He really did.
Look at that. That is a hard, hard hit.
That is the back of where the car impacted the wall. All right, the leaders, as you see, are on the right. They're on pit road. Those cars a lap down. Stay on the racetrack. Let's cover these pit stops.
Jeremy Mayfield hits his pit marks as the other guys went on by. There will be a wedge adjustment on the 12 car. He said his car was a little bit loose near the end of that run. 1.5 rounds. They go to the left side of the car. Now let's go to Steve Burns.
And Matt Dale Jarrett says he's a little bit tight. They're going to take a round and fight out. He's down away, half a pound of air freshener on the right front. And let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, Steve, thanks a lot. Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin already both down and away. Great pit stop by Gordon. Again, kept him out front. Mark Martin got out second. Dale Jarrett third. These tires went about 95, almost 100 laps. So we're going to take a look, particularly at the right front. Now, I was standing down in Rusty Wallace's pit when David Green hit the wall. The right front tire exploded as he went into the corner. So the tire did blow before he got into the wall. He was probably due a pit stop. It's too early to speculate whether he stretched it too far or not. Maybe he ran over and cut something, but the tire did blow before he hit the wall.
So that's the update there. We just had a driver change, it seemed like, as we look down towards the Ted Musgrave pit area. Ted burned his foot very, very badly at Charlotte last week. Randy LaJoy is now in that car. So LaJoy now in the 16. Ted Musgrave had a very pronounced limp all week. Just had the hot foot last week during the running of the Coca-Cola 600. We are under caution. The race leader is Jeff Gordon. Mounds International Speedway jammed to capacity, 107,000 plus on hand. There's Ricky Rudd. Now Ricky was running among the leaders. He came in and pits again at lap 193. We'll get an update there. We'll also tell you that Buckshot Jones has been in for a second unscheduled stop at lap 194, and he had some kind of damage to the right side of his automobile. He got into something somewhere.
Eli, they worked on both sides of that car. I don't know the problem, but he made 2 stops, as you just said, and they working on the sheet metal of the race car, so apparently he's gotten a rubbing contest.
There's Ricky Rudd and the numbers he has posted since last year's win. Steve, what was the deal down there?
Well, Eli, they came back and they took the opportunity to put a spring rubber in the left front. Spring rubber going inside the spring itself for Ricky Rudd.
All right, so that explains that. Meanwhile, Buckshot Jones is in again. We'll update you there in a moment. And we told you Ted Musgrave has climbed out of the Prime Star car while the crew works on the Circuit City entry. Let's check in with Ted Musgrave.
Well, Ted's sipping out some Gatorade. Ted, you got out of the car. What's the problem?
Well, that big wreck on the backstretch right away. We
tore all the crush panels out of the right side of the car, lost a lot of aerodynamics. All exhaust fumes and heat's coming in the car. And I've been there before, and I don't want to do it again because I want to run good yet. Randy's in the car, and maybe a little while later, I'm going to get back in and finish the thing up. And I'm going to put that thing in the top 10 here yet.
They're still hoping for a top 10 run. If you watched the telecast yesterday, you saw Tony Stewart had a hot foot. The temperatures today a little warmer out here. On pit road, we just saw the thermometer. It was 96 degrees, so you can imagine how hot it is inside the race car.
And, of course, he has those crush panels coming out, and he, on top of the injury of last week with that bad foot. But that El Nino, I guess. Everything else is El Nino. It's 96 degrees on the 31st of May. A little early for that.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, you got to give it to these guys how well they can run at all when they're injured like that.
Track cleanup here after the David Green accident at lap number 190. And again, Buckshot Jones on pit road. They're having to push the car away. Matt, what's going on?
Well, Eli, the car inside is getting so hot that the seat is beginning to burn Buckshot's butt. They came in and gave some extra padding to put on the seat to kind of give a little bit of a breathing room between the bottom of the seat and his suit. Also, they were working on the right side of the car. They were involved in some mess earlier in the race. They were just kind of pressing down the duct tape. It's starting to begin to flap, but he's come in. He's got some ice water. But, buddy, as a former driver, I'm sure you can attest to how hot that seat can get when the crush panels get knocked in, like Ted Musgrave, and especially with the high temperatures here today.
Boys, I tell you, it's like a tight pair of shoes when you got to walk a long way. That's where you do your business, and you're sitting there in an aluminum form-fit seat, and the exhaust is right under it. And when it starts burning, there's nothing you can put in water there. All it makes is a big soup.
Oh,
yes.
Buddy consommé.
Yes.
I can imagine that. A lot of other lines you can use, but we'd best not because you want to work again next week.
Exactly.
There's Rusty Wallace, folks. He is 2 laps down in 23rd when everything cycled around. Remember, Rusty came in, and you're going to lose that here when you got to slow down, come down pit road, get your service, go back out when you're doing it under green and everybody else is doing it under caution. Rusty is now 2 laps down in 23rd position.
And Joe Nemechek is as well. He started in 6th spot. He's also 2 laps down. Got a lot of work cut out for him if they're going to make something of this day. 2 laps down, and we're not even at the halfway point. Almost there.
Actually, now the halfway point is upon us as the field comes to the stripe. Still under caution, and they are getting the crossed flags now. So halfway home in the MBNA Platinum 400. Leaders still Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin second. I missed a shift on that, guys. That's all right. It happens. Glenn Jarrett's down there near the leaders' pits.
Yeah, guys, I told you I was going to check on the tire wear. That was the longest run it had. Everybody was concerned down here, and I'm happy to report that on the 3 leaders' cars, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett, the tires that they took off after 100 laps of green flag racing looked absolutely perfect. Particularly Martin and Jarrett were a little bit concerned because their cars were a little bit tight, and they were afraid of the right front. Nobody had a problem. I talked to one of the Goodyear tire engineers. He said he had seen that all day. They didn't expect any problems. As far as David Green's problem, he said that he probably wore it through, that David was running a much higher groove than the other cars were running up in the middle and upper part of the racetrack through the corners. It's much more abrasive up there. Therefore, it just simply wore the tire through.
Field getting the 1 to go signal as they come to the stripe. Time for us to give you the Wrangler mid-race report, sponsored by Wrangler Jeans. Average speed down just a bit from the track record here of a year ago of 132 because we only had 1 quick caution a year ago. In the garage, Johnny Benson, Randy LaJoy, Kyle Petty, Kenny Wallace, and one would assume David Green will not continue. On the lead lap, 13 cars as we get set to go back to green. Don't forget our next NASCAR Winston Cup telecast here on TNN Motorsports. Coming up in just a few weeks, these same teams will be in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. The Pocono 500, it is June the 21st, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TNN Motorsports. That's our next Winston Cup. Cup race. Of course, we'll be in Texas next weekend for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event.
175-mile-an-hour truck race, what I'm talking about, and exciting too.
On a redesigned, redone racetrack. We'll talk more about that a bit later on. There's Ward Burton in the Platinum Pontiac of his as he takes his position in line just ahead of the modified look of Robert Presley. And the green is in the air. Lap 203, the leader, Jeff Gordon. Joe Nemechek trying to get one of his 3 laps down, trying to get one of those back. Rusty Wallace also up the front. So a little bump right there.
Rusty Wallace fighting very hard to make up one of the 2 laps he's down. He did get by Gordon. They made a little contact getting into turn 3. But right now, he's only 1 lap down.
One almost a full 2. He is on the tail end of 1 lap down. From the crossover bridge across the back stretch.
Look at Gordon just close right in on them, though. He is so strong this afternoon.
Well, this shot, if you want to know what it looks like to drive a race car, this is it right here. This is the camera that lets you feel like you're actually in the car.
We're riding with Bill Elliott. Bill's in 11th on the lead lap.
You know, Michael Waltrip in the 21 there in 10th spot. He's doing very, very well today.
Yeah. Up front. Still tight. And here can Rusty stay on the tail of the road. Oh, boy.
2 wheels below the concrete.
If he can make it handle down there on the flat part, he can get by Rusty. But right now, Rusty's using a lot of racetrack. It's important to make these laps up, but he lost because he hit it too early.
Again, Rusty is on the tail end of 1 lap down. So if Gordon passes him, he'd be 2 laps down. There's Dale Jarrett going around the lap car of Joe Nemechek with Mayfield in the 12 behind him. Riding with Jeff Burton.
Eli made a comment earlier in the race today. Jeff Burton passed more cars than anyone else. Started 36 and battled his way towards the front.
And Rusty goes another lap down. So Wallace again 2 laps down as Gordon gets by him. Since the halfway portion of this race goes under caution, the Gatorade Front Runner Award, the $10,000 for leading it halfway, is given out after the 5th completed green flag lap. That's right now. So $10,000 more for Jeff Gordon. Watch this. Last lap.
Honk, honk. No horns on these things. That's how you get their attention.
But it's gutsy to do when you've clearly got the best car on the racetrack.
Well, gutsy to do to put 2 wheels underneath the concrete as well. He is driving quite an aggressive race given the advantage he seems to have in his race car.
Our friends at Napa bringing you the field standing update across the top of the screen. At Napa, we keep America running.
Mark Martin, bumper cam. You can see right behind him, Jarrett. Just behind him there, using a little higher line, getting in the corner. Just behind him, Mayfield.
5th place, Jeff Burton in the 99. Bobby Labonte in the 18. That's the green car. Brother Terry Labonte is not on the lead lap in the 5 right there. Terry is in 14th position, a lap back.
That little green car you see there, the number 18, that's the one they call Little Joe, and that's the one that Bobby Labonte won his first ever Winston Cup race with. Get a good look at it. You're not going to see it too much longer. Joe Gibbs is giving it to Bobby. They found the original engine. They're going to reskin it with a Chevrolet body, and Bobby is building a museum, and that's going to be one of the very first cars that he'll put in it. And 3 wins in that thing.
On board with Rick Mast. Rick's had a good run today. He's now in 7th. We might point out that the gear shifter indication you see there on the right of the screen is obviously not working correctly. We are not shifting from 2nd to 3rd to 4th here at Dover Downs.
Exactly right. It showed it in 2nd gear. I was fixing to say, if it runs 175 miles an hour in 2nd gear, they're at the wrong track.
But that telemetry being brought to you by Meritor, makers of heavy-duty brakes. Nemechek. We look at him from the back of Rick Mast's machine. There's Kenny Irwin on the right there. The Texaco, that black car, number 28. Kenny's in 15th. He's a lap down. But solid run for his first time here.
You can see how much lean you have in the corner there. Right side of the front valence there, dragging the ground almost. The left side about 3 inches up off the pavement.
Again, that's not for position. Nemechek pitted and got caught when the caution came out. Mast is on the lead lap. Joe is back in 30th. He's 3 laps down.
You wouldn't know it at the aggression that he is showing there. He's running really tough. Isn't Mast having a great day, though? This is the best day he has had in 1998. Coming into today, 11th was his best finish. Right now, Mast is running in 7th spot. Good run.
Rick Mast looking for his first win in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. This is his 257th career start.
He's got a side on that car that the NASCAR Cafe is probably after. 2 big donuts right on the numbers there.
Jeff Gordon still leads. There you see the spread. About 5 car lengths over Mark Martin. Dale Jarrett runs 3rd here on TNN Motorsports.
Bill Elliott.
Sure did. And there's a great run for the 43 car. Haven't talked much about John Andretti. He is in 9th, and Ricky Rudd is behind him at 10th. Good battle, and here comes the Circuit City car, that Buckshot. He's running 11th. Andretti, remember, in the 43, but when Bobby Hamilton used to drive that car, they were second here back in 1995. This is always a good track for petty family performances. Even Kyle, if memory serves, finished a good run here and second behind Darrell Waltrip many, many years ago.
I watched Richard Petty make up a phenomenal amount of laps here to win one time. Buddy Aronson stopped on the entrance to turn 3, and he had made up 6 laps on the field to come back and win the race.
We've seen a lot of guys have some spectacular days here.
Including that guy in the number 10, Ricky Rudd, who has won here 4 times in Winston Cup, once in Busch Grand National, and he is chasing John Andretti in the 43.
You remember back in 1975, David Pearson won here by 7 laps over Cecil Gordon, who was running second for that.
I didn't know David Pearson had a front end on that 21 for many a year up here. I chased it so long, I didn't know.
Look at that for the lead. Mark Martin says, I'm tired of seeing the back of that car. And Mark Martin will take the lead here at Dover at lap number 227 when he comes to the stripe.
You know something, you're seeing just the front end of Dale Jarrett. He's also moving up. You would just wonder if maybe, oh, goodness gracious, they got into each other just a little bit. Gordon got into the back of the 6th there, Martin. But you see Dale Jarrett has caught them both there.
Every time Mark Martin takes the lead, it's for 1 lap. Now what can Jarrett do here? Martin took the lead on 120, lost at 121, took it at 128, lost it at 129, and there goes second place away. How about that?
Dale Jarrett is definitely on a mission. I've been watching him for the last 4 or 5 laps. Seems to be the quickest car on the racetrack. As he closes in on Gordon now, only about 5, 6 car lengths back.
That car you just saw on the right of your screen is the 99 of Jeff Burton. See him there at the top of the screen.
Let's watch this as they go down in the corner, Eli.
This is from earlier.
Just a little nudge there in the center part of the corner. Mark Martin goes up the racetrack. Gordon was able to turn left and get under him there in the center part of the corner.
Now by 0.6 of a second, that's the lead.
We also have somebody else sitting there in 4th place. Jeff Burton is driving the wheels off the 99 car. He's closing in on the front 3.
I don't know how this day is going to end up, but Burton's been an all-star today, Glenn, no doubt about it.
Oh, he has, Eli. I've been looking at the scoring computer for the last 10 or 15 laps here since we went back to green, and consistently, Jeff Burton has been the quickest car on the racetrack. Sometimes 1/10 of a second, sometimes only 500, sometimes 300ths of a second, but every lap he's been quicker than those cars ahead of him. I don't think in the
spread out. Gordon to Jarrett to Burton to Mark Martin. You get a good view of it there from the Duralube helicopter high over top Dover Downs International Speedway here in Delaware.
This is pretty unique to be able to ride along with the fastest car on the racetrack. According to Glenn Jarrett, the 99, he says it's quickest on the computer. And it seems that he is closing in on Dale Jarrett just a little bit.
Yeah, we've got it punched up here, too. 143 miles an hour is what Burton is doing. Now he has dropped down just a tick to 142.124 on the last lap.
I wonder if that trip to the Blue Coat restaurant last night's going to pay off. What do you think, Eli?
I don't know.
Crucci's buddy Carrick first went there way back with Richard Petty and won the race the next day. And then in 1990, went there with Derek Pope and won the race the next day. Went there with Rusty Wallace and won. Hasn't been back since. Well, they went last night.
And that win with Richard was Richard's 199th career victory. A lot of folks might remember back to that. And then he went ahead and won the 200 at Daytona in July.
You know, we're going back and forth. I'm looking at the computer now, and just this past last lap, Mark Martin was the quickest car. So these guys are all running very, very close to each other right now. The guy that gets around the racetrack clean without any lap traffic or anything may have a little quicker lap, one lap, but consistently the first four cars are very, very evenly matched.
Glad you're with us here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Jeff Gordon leads. Dale Jarrett second. We're coming right back. Bill Elliott riding us around Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware. He is in the 11th spot right now. One of 13 cars on the lead lap. Turn 1 and 2. Beneath the bridge onto the back straightaway. The horse racing grandstand on the right there you saw quickly. Bobby Hamilton behind him in 17th spot. Bobby's a couple of laps down there, that orange Kodak car. Behind him, you see John Andretti just barely in the nose of the 43, sticking around traffic there. There's John on the inside. That's 12th place, the battle right there between the 21 Michael Waltrip and Andretti, who had his best finish of the year last week at Charlotte. He was 7th. It was his first top 10 finish of 1998.
Andretti's off just a little bit right now because Kenny Schrader and Dick Trickle and all of them are trying to bypass him on the outside there.
Dick Trickle's 19th. He's a lap down in the 90 car.
His car owner is going to return to the races next weekend at Richmond. Junie Donlevy very much missed. He hasn't been around much this year with some heart problems, so everybody's looking forward to seeing him back again at the races next weekend.
Of course, one of the most talked about victories in NASCAR history, let alone just this racetrack, was Junie's win here as a car owner with driver Jody Ridley 17 years ago. It's amazing to think it's been that far back.
Eli, look at this battle for ninth place right here. Buckshot Jones is doing such a wonderful job in this 8 car. He's fighting with Ernie Irvin again. This battle has occurred 2 or 3 times today, and Buckshot gives good account of himself both times.
You know, so is Ernie there in the Skittles team. The last 4 races, 9th at Martinsville, 6th at Talladega, 13th out in California. Ernie was 11th at Charlotte last week. And because of that, they picked up, what, 7 spots in the points. Meanwhile, look at this up front. Dale Jarrett trying to wrestle the lead away from Jeff Gordon.
I think Glenn was being very, very nice a while ago, not to talk about his brother, but his brother, as you can very well see, is a quick car, able to stay on the bottom part of the racetrack as he tries to pull up on Gordon coming off turn 4. Jeff Burton makes it a threesome now. There goes Jarrett up high. Burton under the inside trying to take second place away.
Give a guy just the least little opening. It's going to be all over.
Burton's got his hands full now. He's really got some competition breathing down his neck with this deal. Jarrett's very fast. Burton's right behind him. pretty much the same line.
Yeah, pretty much so. They'll have to work here just a bit to get around Dave Marcus in that white number 71.
Eli, that's exactly what we were talking about. We're looking in computers, and you see one lap, a guy gets behind another car, has a slower lap. The next lap, somebody will get a good clean lap. He'll run the quickest. All three of these cars are very capable of winning this race.
From the Duraloop camera, we see Jeff Gordon finally getting by Dave Marcus. One of the toughest men in this industry to pass is Dave Marcus.
I don't know. Here comes Marcus fighting back on the outside. He tries every lap.
God bless him. Sometimes he'll just ride around, but when you get up on his tail trying to put him a lap down, he'll race you for 25 miles.
I called him 5-lap Marcus when I run with him. I figured it'd take me 5 laps if I was lucky to get by him.
Jarrett gets by cleanly, and that separates second and third spot. And now Dave will give room right there. One thing, he is a considerate veteran, and he'll say, I know I'm not going to battle right here, and he gives room.
Yeah, you're the lead car. He's got to fight for his position soon. Once the lead car got by, he moves over.
Dave Marcus is in 28th right now. He's 3 laps down to the race leaders. Jeff Gordon right there, Jarrett and Jeff Burton.
Marcus is the oldest guy in today's race at age 57. Says he has absolutely no interest in doing anything with his life other than driving race cars. Wants to stick with it forever.
I heard he went fishing, though, the other day and supposedly caught the limits. I mean, he had a great day out on the water. He's bragging more about that than anything else in the garage. Going by Robert Presley in the 77. They've caught Randy LaJoy, who's subbing for Ted Musgrave now in the 16. Not been a good day for the Roush teams, has it?
Not at all. The reason Ted Musgrave got out, you see the damage on the right side of that 16 car there. That was from an accident early, and it knocked in the panels where the tires roll 200 and something degrees off the right side tires pouring back in on the driver. That's why he got out.
You talked about the Roush teams. You got one of them running in third, one of them running in fourth, which is great. But then the rest of the 5 teams were caught up in that very early accident. Johnny Benson never did come back out of the garage, running, being shown now in 41st position. You've got, again, Chad Little in that accident. He's running now in 38th, about 100 laps down. And Musgrave's car with Randy LaJoy behind the wheel in 22nd. So a mixed bag. 2 good, 3 not so good for Roush.
Yeah, and that, you know, you talk about the big family of racing. You see a Chevrolet driver run over and jump into a Ford to help a guy that's too hot in the race car. That's what we're all about.
Why don't we break away and take care of a little business here with Jeff Gordon leading. The King is looking on. John Andretti still in the hunt, running 13. That's the King's driver. Leads here at Dover, but coming up next Saturday, you'll be seeing something for the first time on TNN. The Pep Boys Indy Racing League. That's right, the IRL cars here on TNN. High speeds on the high banks of Texas. The True Value 500K. Check it out next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. Eli Gold with Dick Berggren, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns. Glad you're with us here at Dover Downs. Jeff Gordon hasn't had carte blanche today, but darn close to it. He has been far and away the dominant car. You saw Kenny Irwin make the pit stop moments ago. He was in at lap 258. There you see Derek Cope going in the 30 machine. Derek had unscheduled stops early. He's in 35th. The 88 right behind him. That's Dale Jarrett right there. Second place on the leaderboard. Right behind him, Jeff Burton. That's the third place runner. The Exide Ford. And you pan back just a little bit, and there's Jeff Bodine and Lake Speed. Bodine's in 25th. Lake is in 36th position. Each a number of laps down in their own private battle now. Now you'll see Mark Martin come around the corner. Mark's in 4th, 3.5 seconds behind the race leader, Jeff Gordon. There's the 16 car. Musgrave started it. Randy LaJoy currently at the wheel. And there's Rusty Wallace in the 2. Rusty lost 2 laps, pitting just before a caution came out. And Rusty finds himself in 22nd spot. The white car, that's Dave Marcus. Labonte next in the Interstate Batteries Pontiac.
Did you see Marcus? He stuck his hand out the window and pointed which way he wanted Labonte to pass him, on the low side.
Jeremy Mayfield in the 12. Jeremy's 6th, and there's 7th, Rick Mance. They are 8 seconds back behind the leader. Dale Earnhardt right there in the track number 3. He's 27, just grabbed the position away from Steve Grissom moments ago, but he's running 4 laps down. There's Rich Bickle, who goes by Earnhardt. Rich is in 33rd. He's 4 laps down. And there's Terry Labonte next in line there. Terry's 14th on the leaderboard. 1 lap down. Not really a factor here today, and he's never won here at Dover Downs. The 10 is Ricky Rudd. He is now in 8th spot. And Steve Grissom, he's in 28th, 4 laps down. Further back, Gary Bradbury next to pivot into your picture. From Chelsea, Alabama, he's 34th. There's Joe Nemechek, who pitted before the caution came out before. Cost him 3 laps. He's in 29th. And next off the corner, Buckshot Jones. He is 9th. That's right, 9th. 9 4/10 seconds behind Jeff Gordon, the leader, but a good run today for Buckshot. Next coming around the corner is Sterling Marlin in the 40. He's 15th, a lap down. And the 4 car, Bobby Hamilton, he's 16th, a lap down. So the 40 and the 4 right there are battling for position. Here comes Ernie Irvin. Good run for Ernie today. He's in 10th, 9 2/10 seconds behind Gordon. Bill Elliott next into the focus of our cameras. Bill's in 11th. He is 18 seconds back. There's Kenny Schrader next. He's 17th. Michael Waltrip in the 21 car. Michael's in 12th. There's John Andretti in 13th from the 43. Dick Trickle says, I want some airtime. He's in 18th, a couple of laps back. 11 is Brett Bodine, the Paychecks car. He's in 19th. 22 is the MBNA entry for Ward Burton, who got himself down early with an unscheduled stop. Ward's in 30th. That yellow number 1, that's Darrell Waltrip. He's 3 laps down in 23rd. Behind PW, you'll see Mike Skinner in view. Mike's 31st. He's also 3 laps down in the Lowe's Chevrolet. And they'll cycle all the way around. And as we wait and wait, you'll see the leader coming by, putting a lap on Chad Little, who comes off pit road and back around to Jeff Gordon, whose lead is now 7/10 of a second on Dale Jarrett. So that tells you where everybody is. There are the numbers that are important to you. Out of the events right now are Johnny Benson, Randy LaJoie's 50 car, Kyle Petty and David Green. The race has been slowed 5 times by caution for a total of 33 laps of yellow. We're live on TNN Motorsports, the MBNA Platinum 400. You're all caught up to speed. Back to the action in a moment. Continues to dominate. I mean, he has led already 266 of the 280 laps on the board. I mean, the man has just worn them out. Last fall, remember, Mark Martin ran well and led 194 laps, and he said, what a great job. And those numbers have been left away. Here's Michael Waltrip in. Pit stops beginning. He's in 13th spot. The Wood brothers going to work. This is lap 280. The stop for Michael. Well done, as you'd expect from the team that invented the high-speed pit stop.
Eli, we were talking about the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Look at his number, though. Even the leader has run into somebody today 2 or 3 times. He has a mark on both sides, right on the 24, the number itself, where there's a little rubbing when you're racing close like they do here at Dover.
There's Jeremy Mayfield. Almost thought there might have been a little telltale smoke out from behind that car a little while ago. Doesn't look, it might have just been the way we were looking at things, or maybe the tires were picking up some smoke. Tough to tell. He looks nice and clear right there, running in 6th spot. You know who's backed off a little bit is Mark Martin. Mark is now in 4th, 7.5 seconds back. We're riding with Mark right here. Glenn, what's the deal? I mean, he sounds up to speed, but he's all of a sudden 7 seconds back.
Well, Eli, the problem is the car got a little tight on that set of tires. We saw how he jumped up there and took the lead. But now they say they're coming in. We're getting reports they're going to come in on lap 287. He's talking to Jimmy Finnick, his crew chief, about can they stretch it and go to lap 300, make it all the way. And Jimmy said, no way. We're going to pit on lap 287. Rusty Wallace comes in just as we're talking. And remember, Rusty was the first of the fast cars to pit a while ago. That's how he got his 2 laps down. This will be a 4-tire change for Wallace. They're already they're already on the left side of the car, so he's hoping and praying now that nothing else happens on the racetrack to put him even further behind. Rusty Wallace down in the wake.
Now Rusty came in 24th, 2 laps down at this very second until the leaders come in and stop. Rusty right now is 4 laps down, but obviously when the leaders come in, he'll pick up at least a couple of those laps again. But physically right this second, Rusty's 4 laps down, being posted in 28th spot. Good run right there. Burton and Jarrett, as Burton has 2nd. Jarrett is in 3rd. Let's get an update from their pit area.
Eli, it's the time of the race, and crew chiefs are beginning to crunch the numbers on fuel mileage. Most guys would like to go 1 more stop, so they know they have to go to at least lap 295. That's exactly what Frank Stoddard is planning to do. I said, can you make that 105 laps to the finish? He says, somebody will, like the 18 car right next to us. I know they're going to try it, so we're going to roll the dice. I talked to Jimmy Maycar. He said, that is indeed our plan, stopping on lap 295. They did it last year. They were 1 of 3 cars to not have to stop or splash and go at the end of the last race here in Dover.
Well, sometimes you got to do it. Take those gutsy chances. Bobby right now is in 5th spot on the lead lap.
Going to take a chance on gas mileage. A mile racetrack is so much easier to gamble on than one, say, a 2.5-mile racetrack where there's so much more room to coast if you happen to run out on the front straightaway.
This is a good battle for position here, riding with Rick Mast in 7th. He wants 6th as Mayfield goes high.
Clear high. Good job, man. You the man.
All right. Pep talk.
That's it. So Rick Mast now up into the 6th spot. Mayfield back to 7th. Not a nicer guy in the garage than Rick Mast.
Nothing will make a driver try any harder.
4 laps, Rick. Coming in 4 laps. We'll tighten up a little bit.
You hear 4 laps. Rick is coming in. They're going to tighten him up a little bit.
Exactly. But when those guys start talking to you like that, it's just like a pep rally. You get all juiced up, ready to go.
He knows he's doing well, too. His best ever finish here at Dover is his 6th spot. Ran well, preparing for this event all the way through it. He's had such a good run today, but it sure doesn't hurt to hear that on the radio. Hear those nice words about what a swell job he's doing, and he is.
Yes, he is. It's not been the vintage year. He's only led 2 races this year. Led a couple, actually led about 58 laps at Rockingham and led 3 laps in Las Vegas. He's certainly quality. John Andretti is making a pit stop as you see Mast and Mayfield continue theirs. John Andretti.
Mark Martin's coming down pit road also.
Well, Mark is in as we ride with him. He pits all the way down towards turn 1. There you saw the Andretti crew working, and Glenn Jarrett's down there waiting for Martin.
Hey, guys, mark this. Mark Martin is pitting on lap 291. If he tries to go the rest of the way, 109 laps. This will be a 4-tire change and a chassis adjustment. They're going to the right rear jack screw to make that adjustment. Remember, I said he was just a little bit tight. So that's what they're trying to fix on the car. Right sides are done, left sides are on right now. So this probably will not enable Mark to go the rest of the way. Oh, he stalled the car. The right rear was not on. Oh, man, big foul up there.
The right front also, Glenn. Don't know if you could see it from your angle. They went back to the right front also. And here's Rick Mast. Rick slowly comes in.
There he is, guys, on pit road.
See that right on the money.
Let's do it. Chris. Oh, here we go.
He said, where are we? Oh, here we are. Here we go. Couldn't find his pit stall. Lap 293 for Mast and for Bill Elliott. Ward Burton is in as well. Now we have a new leader as Mast leaves. 3400. The 24. Jeff Gordon is in. That will cycle the lead back on around.
Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield making his way on the pit road also.
Let's go to the 18 pit.
Peter Jones putting in the final can of gasoline, making sure he gets every drop in so now they can go the final distance. This is lap 295. Now let's go up pit road to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, Matt, same thing down here. They're being very careful to try to get all the fuel in the 24 car. 4 tires, he is down and away. 17.2, a good pit stop, a great pit stop under the green. These guys have been flawless on the racetrack and the pits all day long.
So from lap 228 to 294, Jeff Gordon is the leader. At 295, that man, Jeff Burton, takes over the top spot. Pit stops continuing now. Terry Labonte's in. Brett Bodine is in. Darrell Waltrip.
You can see Burton waving his arms to let everybody know he's coming down pit road as he enters in right here. You see the car, he's got it down slow, coming into the pit.
And you see Dale Jarrett coming in as well. First to Matt Yoakum.
In his pit, what they're going to do is they're going to try to loosen him up a little bit. They're going to open up the stagger on the car. As you can see, Frank Steiner comes around on the left side of the car. Jim Gilbert getting every drop of fuel in the car. This is lap 297. Frank said we think he can stretch to 298. 18.0 seconds. Now let's go to Steve Byrne.
Okay, Matt, Dale Jarrett's in here. They're making a chassis adjustment to the right rear. Obviously, a 4-tire stop. So far, it's a good one. The jack goes up on the left side. The left front is on. A little bit of trouble with the left rear on the 88 car for Dale Jarrett. A little bit of a slower stop. He's finally down. 20.2.
Ricky Rudd led for moments. He now comes down pit road. Here comes Buckshot Jones in as well. So it's cycling around on the racetrack now as Buckshot's in for service. And there's Rudd, who led 297 and picked up 5 bonus points. Let's cover that stop.
And Eli, they're going to make a chassis adjustment to the left rear of Ricky Rudd. As you said earlier, he has 4 career wins here. The right side tires are on. They make the chassis adjustment. The left side goes up, tires off, and the new ones are put on. There's the chassis adjustment. Good stop for Ricky Rudd.
Around, Rudd leads. Jeff Gordon will reassume the lead here at lap 298. So again, Gordon led, then Burton for 2 laps. Ricky Rudd led a lap, and now back to the Rainbow Warriors. See Jeff Gordon now the leader again, as we told you before we broke away, having recycled around, and you see the lead now is 2 6/10 seconds over Jeff Burton. There's Mark Martin now running in 5th. He's 11.5 seconds back of Gordon. Of course, he had a disastrous stop moments ago. Watch this here. Watch what happens. See the official?
The official pointing to the right front. That means the lugs are not tight on that wheel, and he has to come back around. You see the tire changer there having to come back around, put a lug on, run back, trip, get out of the way. Boy, that's precious time.
Precious time. That translates now to 12 seconds of a deficit for the man with which we are riding. So those are the fellas who did the very best right there moments ago.
And what a surprise. The Rainbow Warriors once again right at the head of the list with a stop of just over 17 seconds. Those guys are incredible on pit road. They just never make a mistake, and they're always fast.
105 miles from the finish.
What do you think? Can he make it?
Well, we saw 104 here last year, didn't we, with Mark Martin?
Yeah, and that's what won the race for Mark Martin. He was able to get more mileage out of his race car than Kyle Petty, but as a result, he wound up taking home the checkered flag.
Glenn, what are you hearing? Is Ray thinking he's in his window to go?
No, Eli, he told me definitely a while ago, but I didn't even get the question out. He shook his head, said, I cannot make it. The same thing from Mark Martin's pits and obviously Rusty Wallace. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd in the 88 car say that they can make it. So here's Matt.
the benefits of multi-car team ownership. Jack Roush called down and said, look, I know the 99 car is too tight. Frank Stoddard, try this setup. We tried it with Mark Martin's car. They dropped a pound on the left side tires to try to help the car cut in the corners. It helped Mark earlier in the race. Jeff Burton says the car is already feeling better.
Well, interesting. He's running in second, Burton is. There's the leader from the Duraloop camera. High overhead, the Monster Mile in our helicopter. 2 4/10 back is Jeff Burton running in second. Then you got the wild card of Bobby Labonte still. He got an indications there. He might be able to stretch it from 295 to the finish. This all is contingent on no cautions. We've not had a yellow since lap 190, the last of the 5th of the 5 yellows of the day. There goes Jeff right there around Phil Elliott.
One of the things to consider when we're looking at whether they can make it on mileage or not is how the car is going to perform after that round of pit stops. If the car is pushing, it's going to eat up more gas than if the car is not doing that. So hard to tell right now, but there are some guys who might be able to make it on gas, and we might have another caution flag, which would throw all of the speculation right out the window.
So right now, everybody's settling in after the pit stops. Jeff Gordon leads. A dozen teams trying to work on the lead lap late at Dover. Go back, everybody, as we ride with Rich Bickle in 30th spot right now, 5 laps down in the Cale Yarborough-owned machine. Thornapple Valley meets Ford. Up front, still Jeff Gordon. He's now got 2 7/10 seconds on the second place man, Jeff Burton. And watch it from the entrance to the back stretch there. We'll take you back 2 7/10 seconds waiting for the 99 car. And there he is. Then he, Jeff Burton, has 3 seconds on Dale Jarrett in the 88 car. And there is DJ right there. He's running third. Now Jarrett has 6 seconds on the next guy. We got a while here. 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And there comes Mark Martin into your picture. So Mark in the 6th car is in 4th. He's 12.5 seconds back of the race leader. Then you've got Bobby Labonte running in 5th right there in the green Interstate Batteries Pontiac. He's 14 seconds behind the leader. 2 seconds further back, you'll see the 12 car right there, Jeremy Mayfield. He's in 6th, 16 seconds behind. 2 more seconds back, 18 seconds behind the leader, is the yellow Rick Mast car. There he is. And then we wait for Ricky Rudd. Full pivot into the screen here, running in 8th place right there. And there is Ricky. He is in 19.5 seconds back behind the race leader. And that is it. Those are your cars on the lead lap. And they'll circle back on around and wait for Jeff Gordon yet again. Working around the end of the track where the Winston Cup garage is. And there is Gordon now making his way towards the back straightaway. So the spread from first to the last car in the lead lap, Ricky Rudd, who was in 8th, 19 7/10 of a second. Then you've got John Andretti 9th, Buckshot Jones 10th, Bill Elliott 11th, Darrell Waltrip 12th, Ernie Irvin 13th, Terry Labonte 14th, and Bobby Hamilton rounds out the top 15 in the Kodak machine.
Wow, a lot of these cars are starting to pick up hot dog wrappers and stuff. Jeff Gordon has a big piece of paper on the right front corner of his valence there that gets the air to the radiator. You can see it just on the side there. That could be a problem. I don't think it will be, though. He's got a lot of opening there to get fresh air in.
MCI bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring. 10-3-2-1. Just dial it and save up to 50%. Probably a silly question, but I've asked my share over the years, so watch one more, buddy. Would you rather be in a tight battle to keep you really alert, or Would you rather be out by 3.5, 4 seconds, but not have any competition, blow by everybody, and can that lull you to safety and to sleep?
Eli, let me answer that question real easy for you. Would you rather drive in the country, or would you rather ride downtown in traffic?
I'd rather drive in the country.
You got it. Yep. Anytime you're out there, you're picking your line. You're not having to deal with somebody running up under you, making it tough. You're looking in the mirror, wondering if he's going to try to pass you. It's nerve-wracking, even when you have a great car like Jeff Gordon. Right now, he's running perfect line around the racetrack.
Of course, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. What if I had said I like driving in the city? Then what would you have done?
Well, that would have verified. Well, never mind.
Jeff Gordon is the leader, about to go around Mr. Earnhardt. Dale's already 5 laps down. Ray Evernham, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, got to love what he sees. At the back, there's a good battle on the racetrack. 5th and 6th spot right now. That's 19 seconds behind the race leader, but it's the best battle on the racetrack right now. Bobby Labonte in that green number 18. Jeremy Mayfield going higher, as you see. And that's where Bobby's making a lot of time on Jeremy right now. Starting 26th, now running up in the 5th spot, Bobby Labonte.
What a year Jeremy Mayfield has had. He has contended for every single race except this one, Talladega, and the Coke 600. Contended for the win.
There is our First Plus race summary from First Plus Financial. At First Plus, we are working for you. Just joining us, we are 334 laps into the 400. We've been slowed 5 times by caution today for 33 laps. In the garage, Johnny Benson, Randy LaJoy, Kyle Petty, Kenny Wallace, David Green, and Robert Presley. Everybody else still out on the racetrack. Of course, Jeff Gordon has been the dominant driver today, leading well over 310 of the 335 laps thus far.
Well, as they say, why should today be any different than any other day? You know, if you look at the concrete history of Jeff Gordon, it's just absolutely amazing. 2 poles, 3 wins, and he'd have had a whole lot more if things had gone his way. This race last year, remember, he was a contender until he ran into the back of Dale Jarrett in a multi-car incident, pulled his radiator, and then last fall, he was a contender until he got caught in the pits on a yellow flag and just couldn't make it up again. So he might have had 5 by now on the concrete.
Wow, you can see the number peeling back on the car there, Bill Elliott. As he goes down, you can see a little bit of maybe tape just kind of vibrating on the back part of the car, too, hanging off the back of the car.
That's the camera up top, kind of pivoted over to the side. There you see it right there, the front of that 9.
See right on the right rear corner there, he's got a little pigtail following him along there, too.
Buckshot Jones, 10th place right now, guys. How about that?
Isn't he impressive today?
He really is.
I tell you. The guy is auditioning to make it to the biggest of the big league. This is just the way to do it.
Not on the lead lap right now, but still in 10th place.
Look, Elliott's dangling some more stuff. Look at this.
Somebody lost a shirt.
You can't hear me, can you? I just talked
about that. Looks like an old shop rag or a hot dog wrapper or something. Or maybe he knows somebody who was just married or something. It's one of those little shakers.
If someone is just joining the telecast, the 8 car there, Buckshot Jones, just in front of the 94 Bill Elliott, he has a real problem. His seat is mounted in the car where it's conducting heat to the seat of his pants. And, buddy, I'm going to tell you, 400 laps around here, when you're making your fanny like that, it's very, very disconcerting.
You know, we should also point out this guy's not used to running this long. He's a Busch Grand National driver who is accustomed to races half this length.
Jeff Gordon continues to lead. We're riding with Bill Elliott right here. This is for position. He and Buckshot are battling a lap down, but that is for 10th spot, and give it to Bill Elliott. He'll just swing right by Buckshot Jones and grab the spot. So on board there, and that's swap for position. 10th place now for Awesome Bill. Rich Bickle, kind of like flexing his hands there,
Absolutely. You hang on the steering wheel pretty hard. Even with power steering, you have to put a lot of grip into the steering through the corner. He was just flexing his hands there, get a little circulation better.
Ricky Rudd's just gone a lap down. Now only 7 cars remain on the lead lap. We're riding with Jeff Burton here in 2nd spot. Could you imagine radial tires like we've got today in the pre-power steering days?
Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't turn them. I'm telling you, without power steering, as good as the radial tire hangs to the bottom of the racetrack, you can't believe how hard it would be to steer the car without power steering.
Remember how tough it used to be when the old bias ply days when somebody's power steering would go out. Here's Mark Martin in 4th. Mark, of course, had a solid run today. Matter of fact, has led on occasion. He's now 15 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. There's old Rick Mast. Rick has gone a lap down now in 7th. You see Jeff Gordon just ahead of him. So only the top 6 remain on the lead lap.
But as you ride with Rick Mast, you can see, even though he's a lap down, there goes Joe Nemechek on the inside, but he's running very, very well.
Really is.
Ricky Rudd also went a lap down on that exchange.
All right, we told you that moments ago. Telemetry you see there brought to you by Meritor, makers of complete drivetrains. Wiggle for Nemechek there. You see that?
Yeah, he's just checking to make sure he can still turn right after all these lefts he's turned today. He absolutely got sideways. He is right at the moment catching Gordon at a pretty good rate.
So 6 cars on the lead lap now. Gordon, Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, and Jeremy Mayfield. We're nearing the finish. You see 53 laps to go. Who can make it on fuel and who can't? We're back at Dover Downs International Speedway. There's the leader. We have had a change in 2nd spot, though, as we look from overhead on the Duraloop camera. Dale Jarrett having taken over the 2nd spot moments ago from Jeff Burton. But they're still a goodly distance back behind the race leader. You see 4 and 5 seconds back, respectively, for Jarrett and Burton. Burton now 5 1/10 back. Joe Nemechek, 42 car. He's 6 laps down there.
That was Ray Everingham saying, Jeff, don't worry about the 42. Yep. Let him go. There's no reason to race him. Let him get his lap back.
Riding with Jeff Burton. And here comes Michael Waltrip on pit road now. Michael's in 12th, not on the lead lap, but he will be making his stop right here, lap 356. So interestingly there, he's in at lap 280 and now 356. So he's gone 76 miles. You saw Eddie Wood there come around, and Len Wood came around. 2-tire stop.
Absolutely a 2-tire stop. They're trying to get back out there in case these other guys have to come in. That's all they could do. They were losing to the leaders right there. 2 tires might make a difference. But boy, the track position, he gave up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Matt, what about pit stops for some of these fellows who say they can't go the distance?
Eli, Jeff Burton did all he could to hold off Dale Jarrett. His car is just too tight. He couldn't hold him off, so he let him go by. They are still hoping to go the distance. I asked Craig Stoddard, can you make it? He said, I think so. So they're rolling the dice down here in the 99 pit. Let's go to Glen Terry.
Well, meanwhile, down in the Gordon pit, Ray Everingham told Jeff just to take it easy. He pulled over and let Joe Nemechek by on the racetrack to try to get a little wind off of him. You guys talked about that. No use racing him hard. But Ray told him that he should come in around lap 380. I'm telling you guys, I don't believe it.
Well, it's going to be interesting. promising. We certainly have seen at this track in particular, we've seen a lot of guys fib a bit. You're looking at Burt having had to go 103 miles, Gordon 105. I mean, oh my goodness, right there.
Right in front of the leader.
Nemechek and the 31 Skinner directly in front of the leader.
Look at the right front corner there. There's a pretty good gash there in the 42 car where he got up in the Skinner there with the right front corner.
I think Gordon's heart skipped a beat right there.
Yeah, watch this again. See how close it was to Jeff Gordon.
I was looking straight at it. What? Bang! Right into the left rear of Skinner there. That could have been ugly.
John Andretti is pitting. He's in 9th, a lap down. So the 9th place man, you see Andretti, he's in at lap 361. Robbie Loomis's crew going to the right side, and the fill of 76 Racing gasoline. Little time on the right front of a 2-tire change is done there. I mean, let's face it, guys, after the May 16th running of the Winston, got to believe that Ray Evernham knows his fuel mileage down to the nth degree. I mean, they're not going to take a chance.
I don't know.
He knows either he can make it or he can't. There's no ifs or questions in his mind. I can't believe.
I'm sure he knows that, but the question is whether he really would take a chance on one of the races.
Well, just a week later, he made the right decision on 4 tires that won him the race. He is a gambler. Yeah. He's also a very, very smart crew chief. So if he thinks he can make it, they won't come in. But if he, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not sure about it.
Now, Glenn, the other guy in the mix there, you got Jeremy Mayfield going a lap down in 6th spot right there. The 12 just going a lap down. So only the front 5 on the lead lap. Glenn, I was going to say the other guy in the mix, 109 laps in pit runs, is this guy right here, Mark Martin. He came in at 291. And what's their situation now?
Well, they're telling Mark that he's going to have to pit in about 19 laps on lap 383. That's the last communication we heard from them. He was the one that was the most definite in saying they could not go all the way. So we expect to see Mark in the next 15 to 20 laps.
Even some of the lap machines coming in now. Dick Trickles on pit road. Again, Mark pitted at lap 291, meaning he had 109 miles to go to the finish. Only got 36 left. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. Tell you what, why don't we break away here before we get into that window of pit stops and see who's lying and who's telling the truth. We'll all come back and we'll find out together here on TNN Motorsports. Back in a moment. A Platinum 400 down to the final 30 laps. You know, we get a lot of mail, a lot of comments from race fans. They say, can't you guys maybe back off on the commercial breaks a little bit near the end of the race? So fans are taking your requests to heart. Unless there's a caution, we're going to bring you these final 30 laps uninterrupted right here. And here's what happened 2 laps ago. Kevin LePage and went a little bit high there. Spencer went around. Here came Ernie Irvin. That was LePage, who was in 27th there in car number 91 at the time. Over the last few moments, the 28 has been in. Kenny Irwin was in. Here's Rusty Wallace back in for service now in 14th spot. 3 laps back, Glenn.
Yeah, and as we expected, Rusty, there was no way he could go. He has gotten the worst fuel mileage of all the cars that have run up front today. Of course, he got those laps down, most of it, when he pitted early on the first green flag stop, and then the caution came out. The 4-tire change of filling him up with fuel, cars down and away, but tough break for the pole sitter early on in the race.
And interestingly there, the 4 tires with everybody else taking 2, but what the heck do you have to lose?
Exactly. He's in 18th spot, as you said, Eli, and right now what he's doing is not taking a chance of losing any more points than he already has by making that bad pit stop too early a while ago and getting caught in the pit.
Around Brett Bodine goes the race leader. Brett's having a good run. He's in 15th today. And you know, Brett at this time a year ago, the 11 car, at this time a year ago, he was 29th in points. He's now 18th in points. It's not great still, but he says if I can pick up 11 positions this year over last year, it shows that my team is maturing. He's the owner, operator with other folks certainly. But, you know, Brett said if we can pick up 11 positions or so this year, it shows me that this team is getting better.
Well, and you have to look at the race car, too, involved in an earlier accident. That's not the most aerodynamic car I've ever looked at either. He soldiered very well today.
Good job from Brett. He's in 15th right now. Jeff Gordon leads. Dale Jarrett is second, 2 2/10 seconds behind. Jeff Burton is third, 7.5 seconds behind the leader. Mark Martin running fourth. He is 14 seconds back. And the last guy on the lead lap is Bobby Labonte, running in fifth. And here comes the whole field. And actually, Bobby went a lap down moments ago. I correct myself. So there's 4 cars on the lead lap right now. It's not likely that Gordon's going to lap everybody. But we have seen that happen here at Dover back in 1991. Harry Gant lapped everybody once and all the way up to 4th place a second time. That was back here in 1991.
Well, if he could put a lap on everybody, now's the time to do it, because he has reported that they don't think they can make the distance on fuel. So that would make the cushion for some of the guys that are going to try to stretch it all the way.
Well, that's the whole key now. It's a question of circumstance. We've definitely had a demonstration as to which is the strongest car in the field by far, and it's obviously that number 24. If things will go his way from here forward in terms of circumstance, it ought to be his. But what's going to happen with fuel? What's going to happen with caution flags? What's going to happen with pit stops?
Plus, a lot of guys are so loose right now. I'm just looking out over the window here. There are a lot of guys about spinning out every time through the corners. We're still not away from the potential of a caution. Ward Burton had a scare last time by, and he's going to come on in. He about looped his MBNA Platinum car, and he's going to come in right here. He said, that was enough. He said, I about put myself in the 360. So he's in at lap 380, 20 laps to go. Gordon again. He had to go 105 miles, Dick.
Yeah, he's done that before.
Ray Evernham says, no, we have to stop. Erstwhile Glenn Jarrett says, I don't believe him for a second.
Well, remember California, he had to come in by himself at the end of the race.
Just going by the 16, Ted Musgrave's car with Randy LaJoy at the wheel. Randy was involved in that accident early at lap 10 in the Budweiser Chevy, and now he's subbing for Musgrave.
Of course, you know, another factor here is we're starting to think about, thinking a lot about gas mileage is the more horsepower a car generates, the more gas it's going to consume. And that number 24 is coming out of the corners today with an incredible demonstration of horsepower, and that will surely eat the fuel.
Again, Ward Burton having just made a pit stop. That's why with fresh rubber he's able to blow by, and Gordon wasn't going to contest it anyway.
That tells you what new tires will do, but as you see, Ward Burton got in there very hot and went high on the racetrack.
There's second place right there, 2 and 5/10 seconds back, 2.5 seconds. And we'll widen back for the distance again from first. Right there, back 2 seconds. Bill Elliott is in. He's running 10th. Bill could not go past lap 384, so he's in for a splash only. A splash of 76 fuel. No tires on the McDonald's team. They've already made their stop. They were in for like 3 seconds. A splash and go.
I imagine the pit crews are looking back and forth right now to see who's got the gas cans up on the pit wall.
Glenn, tell us again what Ray Evernham said as far as their fuel window. Whether we want to believe him or not. What did he say?
Well, they're within 5 laps, Eli, and they told Jeff on the radio a while ago that they would come in for a splash and go. The only problem is they didn't say when. It might be after he takes the checkered flag and gets him to getting the victory lane. I still think that Jeff Gordon can make it. I may be wrong.
Well, that's why we're here together to watch it on TNN Motorsports.
There goes that hand out the window again.
Dave Marcus saying, you go this way, I'll go that way.
That's great. Hand out the window at 140 miles an hour, telling him, go ahead, pass me on the bottom, I'll let you go.
And the Another thing good for Gordon is part of that obstruction on the grill has blown off of that car, so he's got to open grill again.
Lap 387, Kevin LePage is in for his stop. And Kevin not on the lead lap, but nevertheless unable to make it the distance. He's running 26th, 7 laps down.
I was trying to look at the computer and see if maybe Jeff Gordon was backpedaling a little bit, trying to save fuel, because last lap he ran 142 miles an hour, Jarrett 139.
Well, here's Mark Martin. Remember, he had to go 109 miles. He knew that wasn't going to work. If it did, they'd still be here to Wednesday tearing the car down. So he's in for service, lap number 389, Glenn.
Yep, and the NASCAR official just told him next time by would be 10 laps to go. He's going to get gas only. They'll probably clean the windshield a little for him, but this is just gas and go. They clean the grill and the windshield, and he's out of here.
Again, if you're not familiar, those windshields have these cellophane or adhesive tearaways on them. Instead of coming out with a squeegee, just grab the tab and pull off the next level of cellophane. There's Gordon.
Think about the price that Mark Martin has paid for that pit stop where they didn't get all the lugs on the right front end, where he might be at this moment without them.
Even with that quick stop, he'll be a couple of laps, almost a couple laps back. 1 3/4 or so. He'll drop him to 8th place. Well, let's see. Jeff Gordon's going to come in for a splash. He's waving. See him?
Yep.
You saw him waving through the windshield. He is
put his hand
he's
up.
coming in. So Gordon is coming in. Ray Evernham speaketh the truth. They cannot go the distance.
Oh, smoking the tires, trying to get down to 35 miles an hour. That's the pit road speed that they have to get down to.
That gives Dale Jarrett the lead, lap 392. Glenn Jarrett's waiting.
And you're right, Eli. Ray Evernham is an honest man. He told the absolute truth. They did come up just a few laps short. Obviously, this will be gas and go only, nothing else. No windshield, no grill clean, just enough gas to get him home for these final 7, 8 laps.
Now, what's the status of Dale Jarrett? Steve Burns, what are you hearing? They were in 103 laps from the finish.
Well, Eli, I talked to the gas guys after they were doing their calculations on fuel mileage, and I asked them if they could go all the way, and he said, we can, but just barely, so it might be close on the 88 as well.
7 miles to go. Now as they cross the stripe with 6 to go. How about Jeff Burton? If Jarrett can't go, what's the status on Burton? Let's get an update.
Eli, we told you they were going to roll the dice. Craig Stoddard just radioed to Jeff Burton to slow down and try to save fuel. Your last lap with a 25.50, you have to slow down 2/10 if we're going to try to make it to the finish.
So they're going to try in case Jarrett can't. There's Stoddard and the bunch waiting and watching, checking those stopwatches. Now Gordon is in 3rd after that splash and go. He came back out in 3rd. Remember, he had like a 20-something second lead on 4th place. So he's in 3rd. That is your 2nd place man.
This is absolutely nail-biting time. I guarantee you these guys right now are listening for anything, looking at the fuel pressure. If it bounces and you think, uh-oh, here it goes.
No gas gauge in these cars, just fuel pressure. And when that fuel pressure gauge wobbles, it means you've gone some distance on the racetrack without gas getting to that engine. You don't want to see that. Well, can he make it?
Dale Jarrett has not had good runs at all here at Dover Downs International Speedway, particularly since this track was concreted. Matter of fact, we showed you his numbers way back around 11:45 this morning on our pre-race show, and he just has not had good success here at the Monster Mile of late. He's never won here in the previous 22 visits. It'll be the white flag next time by. Burton slowing just a bit under direction from his crew chief. 12.5 seconds for Jarrett.
Jeff Gordon has pulled the full straightaway back ahead of the lead cars.
White flag is out.
You can see Jarrett down on the inside there, people going by him. He slowed the pace, but he looks like he could almost bump it into neutral and coast on.
He probably could. He's got an 11-second lead. There's Gordon right there. But Jarrett being bypassed now by others. He is slowed way down. Here comes Bobby Labonte, not on the lead lap. He's a lap back, but here comes Jarrett. He'll take the checkered flag on what one has to assume is fumes in the number 88 Ford Taurus. He nurses it on around. Everybody else coming across the line now. There's Jeff Burton. He'll take second spot. And 103 laps on that final tank of fuel gives Jarrett his first win in 23 starts here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Let's go to his pit area.
And Eli, Todd Parrott got tremendous gas mileage. And here's a plaque for you, the Miller Lite Victory Award from TNN and Miller Lite Beer. Congratulations.
Thanks. You know, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, our race team, you know, all these guys on this pit crew. They never give up all weekend long. I'd like to say hello to Debbie and Tyler and Chandler back home. Got us a trophy.
Hey, now, I talked to the guys that figure your fuel mileage, and I said, can you make it? And they said, barely. How close was it?
I don't even know. It's real close. But we wasn't going to stop. There's no way.
Close enough, huh?
Yeah, the good Lord was looking after us today. Thanks.
Congratulations.
The Miller Lite Pit Crew of the Race Award goes to that man, Todd Parrott. Miller Lite reminding you that whenever you feel good, it is Miller time. It avenges a year ago where Jarrett lost an engine after leading 255 laps. Today, he wins. Back to Dover Downs. Well, Jeff Gordon led 375 of the 400 laps, but he is not in the Money Store winner's circle. Dale Jarrett is. Victory Lane brought to you by the Money Store, where you can refinance your home and consolidate your debts with just one phone call. Glenn Jarrett, that man doesn't have to refinance at all.
No, I'm hoping. I don't know if this is the right time to ask him for a loan again. I've been turned down every time. This is more fun than playing golf, but that had to be nerve-wracking over those last 10, 15 laps, Dale.
Yeah, it was. Man, they told me we had enough fuel, but, you know, you just don't know. And I ran pretty hard trying to catch Jeff and didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or not. And, then I just wore my front tires out, and I decided to back off and hope that he had to pit, and we were fortunate that he did. But, you know, these guys in the engine shop have worked awful hard. We used to not get any fuel mileage, and they've worked awful hard in getting us some fuel mileage.
Well, he's taking a big drink of Coke right now. Dale, we talked to you at the top of the show and said maybe this place owed you one from last year when it looked like you had the thing wrapped up in the engine let go. Might have paid you back.
Well, yeah, if there's any such thing. I don't know if anything owes you or if you get a payback, but been wanting to win here for a long time. Tough racetrack, and just glad we were able to have a good, safe day. Thank God that he gave us a good day to race and a safe day, and thank his crew for a fantastic job they do week in, week out. Our sponsors, Ford Quality Care and Ford Credit, Coke and Fleetwood RVs, Mac Tools. We appreciate all your support. Say hi to Kelly and the kids. Be home soon. This one's for y'all.
All right, also, Dale, the tire, there was a lot of concern. The car stayed pretty tight all day, but that new Goodyear tire served its purpose well.
Yeah, Goodyear did a fantastic job. You know, I was a little concerned knowing we were running that fast the first day, but Wayne Torrance and all the Goodyear engineers assured me that the tire was going to last, and it did a fantastic job.
All right, congratulations again, and I think he can wait the plane on me now. We'll be on for another hour, but he's got some more things to do.
I bet he does, for a man who had DNFs, did not finish the last 4 races in the spring here. Well, he's in victory lane today, but who would have thought that that guy wouldn't have been? I mean, Jeff Gordon led 375 of 400 laps. He didn't lead 25 laps. And, Steve, he just is not in victory lane.
And he's hot right now, just trying to get some fluids in his body. Jeff, what a tremendous race you ran.
Man, that's a great run. Great race car, great race team today. And that's a tough way to finish third, I can tell you that. But, you know, hey, that's the way life works, you know. You just go out there and you run as hard as you can and get what you can get. And we're happy with the third. You know, when they dropped the green flag, you asked me if I was going to finish third. I said, hey, that'd be a great day. But, you know, as dominant as the car was, it just wanted to get out there in front and lead. And, you know, just kept getting better and better and better the older the tires got. And I got to commend Goodyear for a great tire. They brought a great tire, and our car really adapted well to it. But great race for the DuPont Automotive Finishes Chevrolet and this whole team, and we're real proud of it.
Jeff, how disappointing is it, as great as you guys were, great in the pits all day long, to have to come down that pit road just 25 laps from the finish?
Well, it didn't bother me too much until I realized that the other two guys didn't have to come down pit road. I really thought if we were coming with 10 to go or however many it was, that everybody was going to have to come. And, you know, it was pretty disappointing when I looked at my mirror and I realized, and I came on the radio and said, those guys aren't going to have to stop, are they? You know, that was frustrating because we had such a great car and we did all we could do to get to victory lane, but that doesn't always mean you're going to get there.
All right, great run. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Jeff Burton and Frank Stoddard gambled. You guys nearly came up to win. Your best career finish, your second. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We had a long way to come. The X-Side 4 drove real good in race trim. We struggled a lot getting into qualifiers, everybody knows, but the car was really good all day and got a little bit tighter at the end than we anticipated, but the light 24 car, he got a little tighter than he wanted to also, and the 6 got looser, so sometimes you guess wrong and sometimes you guess right.
This has been kind of a turnaround for you. You guys have struggled a lot this year. How big of a confidence booster is this for you?
Well, we throw out qualifying. It's a real big confidence booster. This is the 3rd week in a row we finished in the top 10, and we just want to get our consistency back. And, you know, if you can get back where you can run in the top 7 or 8 every week, then you can get your wins, you can get your points like you need to be. And that's what we're looking to do.
Was the fuel pressure gauge starting to bounce a little bit?
I don't even look at it anymore. If they tell me I can go, I can go. They tell me to look at it, but if looking at it doesn't do any good, it's going to run out or it's not going to run out.
Well, congratulations. Jeff Burton, 2nd place today in Dover.
You know, we talked about Jeff Gordon leading 375. 6 drivers combined to lead the other 25 laps today. Now the Haviland point recap brought to you by Texaco, a world of energy, and that's how the numbers will look heading on to Richmond International Raceway, 1 weekend away. Awfully tight. But the winner gets the honors today. Dale Jarrett led when it counted, took the lead at lap 393 and stayed there for 7 miles. It's now beginning to file out onto Highway 1. You see it there towards the top of your screen. U.S. Route 13 is over towards the left of your screen there, heading up towards Philadelphia and the Wilmington, Delaware area. Take a while, but 107,000 folks expect to spend a little time in traffic. Some of the drivers getting away as quickly as they can. Steve Park trying to stay off that leg by hopping a ride on the nearest golf cart. The War Wagons going towards the garage, and so too the car of the 3rd place finisher, Jeff Gordon. Don't forget, folks, Friday night, mark it down, next Friday night, Buddy and I and the whole crew will be on hand at the Texas Motor Speedway. It's the same track, you know, Bruton's track there in Texas that has been broken up, redesigned, repaved. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will be running there in the Pronto Auto Parts 400K next Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock local time there in Texas. A challenging 1.5-mile track, but you know, you don't know how challenging because it's been totally redone since we saw it a couple months ago.
Eli, they changed the corners a lot like Charlotte. It should be faster than last year. The trucks ran 175 miles an hour in qualifying there. Going to be a great race. We want everybody to tune in and see what these guys can do. They are great drivers.
Going to bring your cowboy boots?
Yeah, that'll be worth seeing, folks. We're going to get a hat on Eli Gold.
Yeah, I don't wear hats very often. If we can find one.
I can loan you one.
Yeah, thanks.
Got several.
Yeah. Let's go and hear from someone who has a bit more sense to him, Bobby Labonte.
Okay, Eli, and he was just getting some critiques from his 4-year-old son, Tyler. How do you say you did, Dad?
He said I was sweating. I tell you what, the Interstate Pontiac ran good today. Started in 36th, came back to finish 4th, and, you know, picked up a spot there at the end when Mark had to pit, of course. But, you know, car ran great. The last 2 stops were probably not as good as the time before the track changed or whatever, and our car was a little too tight then and couldn't get it to loosen up. But, you know, overall, the guys did a great job. You know, it's a hard-fought race today, and to come back from 36 was awfully good for them.
Bobby, we talked at the top of the broadcast about a new tire compound. Goodyear had tested a brand-new tire. How did it hold up for 400 miles?
It held up great. You know, it just, when we got here, we were thrown for a loop because we weren't ready for it, but our car was too sticky on it, but, you know, grabbed the racetrack too much and was just bogging it down. But, you know, overall, I guess it seemed like a good tire. Can't say nothing wrong with it. We finished the race on it, and our car ran good most of the day. And, you know, I shouldn't say it ran great all day, but ran better 2 parts of the day, or some of the day than it did there at the end. But the guys did a great job. We started off really bad on Friday. We didn't make the top 25, and then we were the last car in the field. And to come from that far back on a racetrack like this is awful tough. And they did a great job. They worked hard all week long trying to get it better and better.
Good run.
Thanks.
Bobby Labonte, who on the unofficial numbers right now is showing up in the 8th spot. And, of course, he was lapped on the racetrack back shortly before the day was done. Fans heading on home, a record crowd here at Dennis McGlynn's beautiful Dover Downs. Boy, and how this racetrack has grown up. Remember, Dick, first time we came here, in my instance, back in 1976. And they had like 20-some-odd thousand seats here, and very honestly, not all of them were filled that day.
They really weren't, and whoever would have imagined that Winston Cup racing would get so huge that you could put 107,000 people here and still thousands more wanting to come in.
I've got to think the kudos of the day may have to go to Buckshot Jones. Second ever NASCAR Winston Cup race, first one here. And there's Buckshot, looks fairly fresh, and he's got 7th place tucked away. How about it?
Oh, yeah, he does look pretty fresh. And the first thing I want to say, Buckshot, is congratulations. Second thing is, did you think that thing was ever going to end?
No, I didn't on actually the second part, but that Circuit City Monte Carlo went great all day. We were just a little bit too tight there at the end and couldn't, you know, turn coming off. But, you know, to finish 8th, heck, I'll take that. But I tell you, 400 laps is a lot different than 200 laps here at Dover. It wears you out pretty good.
Well, you did a great job in the car. You kept the car up in the top 10, top 12 all day long. It's got to be a big confidence booster for you in this division and for this race team that's been struggling.
Well, you know, it makes your job easier to driver, you know, when the crew gets the car set up good. And, you know, I would have hated to have been out there and my car had been in ill handling, so I don't think I would have made it through the whole race. But, you know, hats off to these guys. They did a great job. They're the ones that, you know, got us up there to finish 8th. I just had to sit there and give it the gas and turn left.
Well, now you got another doubleheader weekend coming up next weekend. You're going to go home and do a little working out. Maybe you're going to rest all week.
I'm probably going to need to rest up all week and recover from today. But, no, I don't think it'll be as bad up there at Richmond since it's going to be at night. But we're ready to go.
Then after that, I understand you guys are going to run at Pocono as well. Original plans were for you to run your own car there.
Right. We're going to go test up there Monday and Tuesday. And we are going to run our own car, the Pontiac, Aquafresh Pontiac. So, I don't know, it's going to be kind of different up there. Pocono's a little bit different, I guess, than anything you run. And we need as much experience as we can get in these cars.
Well, you can hear he's leaving to go to Pocono to test tomorrow and Tuesday. There's no rest for the weary. There's long straightaways at Pocono. Hey, man, get a nap while you can.
All right.
Look at Buckshot beside Glenn Jarrett there. He looked like he comes up to about your armpit, Glenn.
Looks like a jockey.
Well, I tell you what, he was a jockey today, and he did a darn fine job. This young man's got a bright future ahead of him. Everybody's proud of him. A lot of other people around here waiting to talk to him. But, again, congratulations. Good job. We'll see you next week.
And we will be with him also in Pocono on the 21st of June. That's our next NASCAR Winston Cup race here on TNN Motorsports. Been a nice day of racing. Real nice for Dale Jarrett. Led the last 7 miles. Sir, the race is over. We're back in a moment. Copter now. It's no longer the race copter. It's now the traffic copter, and it gives you a view towards Highway 13 right there, heading to your right, north towards Philadelphia, and south to the left over towards Maryland and Virginia. That's Delaware State University there, middle of your screen across the way, and a lot of the folks using those perimeter roads. And again, you can see, you know what you have here, too, very interestingly at Dover. Not only do you have race traffic, but Route 13 right there, the big road you see, is also the main route from the shoreline. A lot of the beautiful Delaware beaches, the Delmarva Peninsula, and really makes for some congestion here after race days. But going south, that's the hot setup right there. Folks heading down towards the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and so on towards the state of Virginia. Back to the garage area. Other drivers now getting set to head on home. Why don't we catch up with them before they leave?
Okay, Eli, we're with Ricky Rudd. Ricky, great day. You started 5th, finished 6th. Came into this event 27th in points. I know you really wanted a good run.
Well, we really did. We've been struggling all year, like say, and this run today, like I say, wasn't a win. We struggled with it all day. We never could get the handle for the long runs. They kept adjusting it, but you know, a 6, almost saw a top 5 today. We're really pleased.
Ricky, you told me a couple days ago that you thought that you're finally getting to the point with your team where you're getting caught up you still feel like momentum is going to be positive at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say we're caught up yet, but I can see some daylight. I can see some cars in the system that's coming through. That this car today was a little different, and it ran better. Still not great, but it's better. So at least we can see a little daylight. We're making progress anyway.
Okay, thanks. Good run.
Thank y'all.
Well, Rusty Wallace has stepped out of his truck. Rusty, a pole-sitting car, I know not the finish you'd want at 18.
No, not at all. I mean, we had a good car today. We sit there and run 3rd and 4th, and at the worst, 5th all day long. And Robin said hit pit road for fuel, and I came down pit road, and I'm thinking, man, I can't believe we're coming this early. But I had no idea we were getting this atrocious fuel mileage. We probably had the worst fuel mileage going on in the whole garage area, they were saying. But anyway, but that's one thing. We can overcome that. But the luck was the bad one. We hit pit road, and as soon as we pulled out, the caution flew. And I went down 2 laps right there. They got the pit road speed is so slow. We come down pit road at 35 miles per hour. It feels like you're crawling. And when you're running that slow, you get lapped 2 times at least when you pit. But the performance there was there. The guys had great pit stops. The motor ran strong. The fuel mileage killed us today. That's what happened. They were just outrunning us big time on the fuel mileage. We were probably 10 laps off.
The other title contenders had a good run today, good top 10 finishes. This is going to be a hit for you in the points.
Oh, I know that, yeah. I'm well aware that I got a big hit in the points today, but you can't slow down. You got to keep on digging every race, and when we get to Atlanta in November, let's see where it falls out. But I'm not going to back off. I mean, we got the pole here. We ran strong, real strong all day long. Couldn't beat Gordon. Couldn't beat the 6 car or the 88, but at times we had them all beat, and they had us all beat at different times. So my car was pretty tight all day long. We made a lot of adjustments, and it got better and better and better. But race is over, and I'm 18th.
Well, on a bad note, 40-plus races since your last win, but the good news, you're going back to Richmond.
Well, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, I came here thinking I was going to win the race today because we were really strong. So I got to try to win them all, and everybody keeps reminding me about how many races I've gone. I guess that's newsworthy, but hopefully next week we'll win, and we'll get some points back.
Well, good luck next week.
Buddy, let's talk about fuel mileage for the fans who are new to NASCAR Winston Cup racing. If we're talking about a big-time team and they've got real good engines, all of them, why does one guy get atrocious in this instance, Rusty, and why are some getting better? What's that variable in there?
Well, they get on the dynos at the race shop and adjust the car, and they say, okay, this will not burn a piston, but it's very lean, and it's getting better gas mileage. Bigger jets you run in the carburetor, feed the fuel through the jet to the engine, uses more fuel. Also, a car that handles well will usually get better gas mileage. So there's a lot of variables in there, and as they work on the cars during the week, they look at the dyno and say, okay, fuel flow's good, we can go X amount of distance with this type of carburetor setup.
There's also the matter of adjusting the car at the racetrack itself. They all check for the weather and see how much barometric pressure is there, what the humidity is, and so forth. And it's an educated guess, at best, as to how to jet these carburetors and how to get the maximum amount of fuel mileage out of the engine without burning the engine down. And some days it works, and some days it doesn't.
Don't you go away, folks. We've got lots more coming up from the Monster Mile here in Dover, Delaware. We're together for another half hour or so. So lots more post-race coverage on TNN next. Activities have wound down. The garage area beginning to empty. Looking for a way to keep cool, just find the nearest cooler and shove the puppies in, kind of like Ernie Irvin is doing. Ernie had a good run. He's 8th today, but looks like he's got the hot foot.
Yeah, I think Jerry Reed said it best, when you're hot, you're hot. And this is not what he had in mind, though. Few burns out there, but pretty doggone good day.
You know, the Skittles Pontiac seemed to run pretty good all day. We're just a little bit off. You know, we had a pretty decent qualifying effort, and from then on we were a little bit off and never could find what we needed. But you know, the guys did a great job in the pits and getting me in and out, and you know, we made it on fuel mileage. So you know, hey, we'll take anything we can get.
Well, you got a good thing to take today, and we were talking right before we came on the air, Ernie, about just about how hot it was out there. The humidity and the heat driving it, that's a miserable day.
It really was, you know, but I guess we all had to put up with it.
Well, you put up with it well. Burns on your feet, anywhere else?
Cut on my butt, yeah. But, you know, hey, You know, it was only 400 laps. I'm glad it wasn't 500.
He said that exactly right. Guys, we're going to go let him cool off. He is burning up. You can hear from his voice. He's a tired man, but he had a great day. Good run for Ernie Irvan in the Skittles Pontiac.
Was a super run for Ernie. Comes home ahead of Terry Labonte, who finished 9th, and Rick Mast came home today in 10th. Stick around. More coming up. Speedway's track now clears out after a super crowd today. Saw Dale Jarrett get to victory lane. Looking out across towards that back stretch area, the horse racing grandstand, middle of the screen there for when the trotters run here. They use that little gray track inside the big super speedway, and part of the great looking Delaware countryside out in the background. We were bragging earlier in the day today on Brett Bodine. Ends up with the fuel stop later on, comes home in 16th spot. But Glenn, here's a guy who's picked up 11 positions from where he was a year ago, and that's going to be encouraging.
Oh, it definitely is. We're standing here talking while we were away, Eli, and you know, I told you during the race I was checking the scoring monitors, and every time I could see Brett Bodine had one of the quicker cars on the racetrack, but you just never could get in track position.
No, we couldn't, Glenn. We just couldn't get the paychecks forward up towards the front and keep it there. We got in that first wreck on the backstretch, did some damage on the front, cost us a lot of track position. We could never get there, and of course we did have an awfully fast race car, and the guys did a great job in the pits. But you know, them lap cars, they're going to get out of the way for that leader. They didn't want to get out of the way for me. They wanted to race me. So that's what just kept cost us a lot of time. But really proud of the guys. They adjusted the car great all day, and Jerry made a great call staying out there at the end. Got good gas mileage out of that Rush motor.
Big boost for you guys going into Richmond next week. That's a place where you got a lot of experience.
Yeah, it is. And you know, we're hanging on to that top 20 in the point standings, and today was it was a good points day for us. We didn't get any positions. We're still 18th, but we gained on a couple guys right ahead of us. We're only like 17 points out of 15th, and we've got like 100 points on 20th. So that's a really good day for us in the points.
What about the week coming up? You going to have a little time off to do something that's fun, more than out here in the 100-degree heat baking?
I'm going to challenge you to a golf game at my course this week. How about that?
Like I told you before, it'll have to be Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday, because you get tired by the end of the week.
I told him I didn't play worth a hoot on Thursday. Don't mess with me on Monday, though.
All right. We won't do it on Monday.
Okay, good luck next week, and great run. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Of course, what he didn't tell Brett is that Thursday he's going to be with us in Texas getting ready for the truck race next weekend. So Brett's going to have to come to the Lone Star State to find old Glenn Jarrett. We've got Platinum 400 is in the books. Dale Jarrett wins it. Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte. A lot of guys with some good, solid runs here today. We'll be talking more about it as we continue. There you see the crowd heading out towards their cars and the eventual ride home. Many of the drivers having already departed the garage. Time for us, though, to bring you the AutoZone Tech Fact, brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
If you've ever watched a Winston Cup qualifying session, one thing you would commonly see is the car would complete its laps, water would start spitting out the back of the car. Now what causes this is teams put as much tape on the front end as they can, the water heats up and expands and it has to go somewhere. We'd normally just let it go out a black hose, out on the pavement, out the back of the car. Now what NASCAR has done this year is we have to put a tank in the trunk. It holds about 2 quarts of water. So instead of the water going on the ground now, it goes in this tank and we can just drain it later. Now even though the water on the track may not be dangerous, if a driver sees a stream of water, he's more apt not to go through that corner hard. This is just another way that NASCAR has tried to put everybody on an even playing field, even on qualifying day.
Interesting note there from Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, you ever go down in the corner and get water under these slick tires? They don't have grooves, so you go down in the corner and get water underneath the patch of rubber that's trying to hold you on the racetrack, and I'm telling you, you're on the way to the wall.
Meanwhile, we told you before that Buckshot Jones in the Stavola brothers car came home with a strong 8th-place run after relieving Hut Strickland of the ride earlier in the week. Hut is here, though, in Dover, and Glenn has found him in the garage area. Glenn?
Yeah, Eli, you know, we were talking during the, I guess, about the middle of the telecast there about when a change is made like that, it's not always the driver's fault, but that's the easiest thing in the works to change. But Hut, they had a good run today, and like you said, it seems to always happen that way.
Well, it does, Glenn. You know, every time. I mean, you see it every time in the past. You know, it's just. I mean, it was a great run for them guys. I'm proud of them. You know, I know they can do it. You know, I've had some good runs with them too in the past, but you know, in the you know, just there recently. Things wasn't going right for us, and we needed to do something else. It was a good change for Bill Stavola, and it's going to be a good change for Hut Strickland, too. You know, I got a lot of good things in the works. You know, we're doing some things with Andy Petrie in Daytona. We're going to run a team car to Ken Schrader down there in that race. You know, and then we're working on some other things coming up, too. So I'm pretty excited. You know, it's hopefully I think it's going to be a good deal for both of us.
Well, I'm glad to hear about those things, those plans that you have for the future, but you're not the kind of guy to sit around and lick his wounds anyway.
No, not really. You know, I've been down before, and I got right back up, and this time I'm down. I'm sure I'll get right back up. But, you know, it's just you can't do it. I mean, you just have to, you know, work on towards the future, and that's really what I'm doing.
Well, you know, we've all watched you for a long, long time. We feel like that you've got what it takes. You just need to get in the right situation. Hopefully that's going to come along for you soon.
Well, you know, it is. I feel like I can, too, and I really appreciate you saying that. But, you know, you have to get, you know, the right team, you know, and it's like you said, the chemistry is everything. And, you know, if I can get in a place like that where the chemistry's right, I'm sure we'll do good.
Okay, thanks a lot for taking time to talk to us. Good luck in the future.
Thanks.
Hut Strickland looked like a young Elvis.
Didn't he?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Viva Las Vegas, baby. Well, those guys were done early today. Got involved in a lap 10 accident. That's Johnny Benson's bunch on their way back to the Carolinas. In with all the different sponsor hats. We've kind of speeded it up for you to 600 times its real speed.
Have a hat?
Have a hat?
All changed.
Oh, my.
Oh, and that goes on and on and on. Welcome back to Dover Downs. Dale Jarrett, the winner. Ricky Rudd had himself a solid day today, coming home 6th. He's the subject of our Home Depot driver profile. Home Depot, where low prices are just the beginning. Ricky Rudd started his NASCAR career in 1975. He's driven for some of the greatest car owners in the business. But now, as an owner-driver, he's finding his one-car team to be a small fish in a big pond.
The amount of money that's taken each year, the amount of money it's escalated over the years to stay competitive in Winston Cup race. And I guess I didn't calculate that. That's somewhat of a surprise. And with that, the employee situation, I guess in any business you go through, it takes a while to get to find out who your key loyal employees are. And it's great for the employees because their salaries right now are escalating tremendously. And if a guy has a chance to, somebody starts a second or third team up and they call an employee up, one of ours, and says, hey, we'll double your salary. Are you interested? You know, I can't really blame our guys. I'll pat them on the back and wish them well. But I guess I didn't anticipate that. You know, I didn't see the multi-car expansion taking off you know, as it has here. I didn't see that in '94.
Rudd's single-car operation forces him to maximize resources and technology to stay competitive with those multi-car teams.
A good example of the way Ralph's doing it right now. Every time he goes to the racetrack, his cars have been tested at that event. Well, we got 7 test dates, and we've got to use them a little more wisely. We have to do things like at the Winston, we have to choose the Winston race to do some experimental R&D because we just don't have that many test dates. So it's simple. You know what you got to do to stay in the sport and to be competitive in the sport. There's a difference in staying in and being competitive. And I'm a very competitive person. I'm not going to participate if I don't think we have a chance at winning. So, you know, our future is also to expand.
Ricky zeroes right in on it. And of course, buddy, you were a car owner, you and Mr. Schiff owning a NASCAR Winston Cup team for a while. It has changed.
It has changed considerable. And you know, he says he's going to expand. He knows what it's going to take. And Ricky Rudd is a winner. And he'll do what it takes to build that team into a consistent winner.
Future NASCAR Winston Cup fans on hand. Dale Jarrett got the win here at the Monster Mile. Back with more from Dover Downs in a moment.
And now a closer look.
That'll work.
For fast service, go to the pros.
As we continue from Dover Downs International Raceway in Delaware, Fans having filed out. They sell those enclosed seats right there. That's, again, the horse racing grandstand, front stretch for the horse track. But they have folks who go in there to the restaurant area. They have a nice full buffet throughout the course of the day. And it's obviously air-conditioned for everybody's comfort. And we see you in there. Good to see you. It's a popular seat because today was like 96 degrees. I mean, it's a little early for that kind of heat.
Of course, when the race is all over and done with, you can go behind there and pull the lever on the one-armed bandit. They've got a casino back there.
They have a casino, and it is quite successful. Why don't we take a look at the finishing order today and see who finally came home where. Good solid runs for all of those. And again, Jeff Gordon comes home third today after leading 375 of the 400 laps. Good effort. Ricky Rudd, Buckshot Jones is there. John Andretti had a good day, and Rick Mast.
Rick Mast, that's the one I was going to point out, ran in the top 5 most of the day today, ends up 11th.
Look at old Darrell. DW came home in 20th. He's kind of persevered.
Jeff Bodine, the tire tester, got lapped several times. Thought he was going to have a better day than he did.
Jeff was 4 laps down at the finish. Kevin LePage, Ward Burton had to make that late pit stop. Kenny Irwin ran well, then had to make a series of pit stops late in the day.
Then Kenny Wallace, 40th there, had a tire go down going into turn 3, head on into the wall, walked away.
And you got guys like Benson, Petty, and LaJoy. Here you come, spend the whole weekend at Dover getting set. You go, you run your 9 laps. Race starts at 12:10. By 12:19, you're on the way home. Can be a cruel sport sometimes.
Sure can, but on the other hand, when you see the other side of it, when you enjoy victory, you enjoy it even more because it is so very difficult to win. Just ask Dale Jarrett. All the DNFs he has had here at Dover, and today, finally, he wins one.
Well, they're going to go through the post-race inspection while Dale does the interviews. The crew will be there for an hour, maybe 2. Takes a while to tear down the winning car, but it is all worth it. Maybe 2. Takes a while to tear down the winning car, but it is all worth it. The world of NASCAR racing. Great to see him here, and hope to see you folks enjoying the TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4. It's a video game for Sony PlayStations and the Sega Saturn systems, and if you are a racer and if you like games, check it out. TNN Motorsports Hardcore 4x4 for the Sony PlayStations. For more information, why not go online at country.com and get all the information. Right there, you've got Kevin Triplett to the left and Gary Nelson to the right. Kevin works in the competition department of NASCAR, and of course Gary Nelson, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series director. They're looking at the wall area. Remember, that's where David Green hit, and of course he was on the side of the track where Kevin and Gary are. But look at the impact that must have been to move that earth berm.
Absolutely, and that's blacktop there, just like asphalt. So he hit it very, very hard. And of course, Gary Nelson always there to check it out and make sure it's safe for the next event.
Indeed so. The next event here also includes the NASCAR Busch North Series and the Indy Racing League coming here in July. Well, as David Green's team hauler heads on back to the house, we're about to load up our 18-wheelers as well. We're back to wrap it up in a moment.
Michael came onto the scene in Indy.
Or after a race ends, how quickly the grandstands clear. Normally we're already scattered ourselves at this point. I bet you there's not a grand total of 300 folks or so in the entire miles worth of grandstand anymore.
You want to know where they're at? Look just behind the grandstand.
They're in the parking lots waiting to get on home after enjoying the MBNA Platinum 400. Don't forget, as soon as we move aside, you've got Rick Benjamin and Matt Yoakum and Steve Burns, Bob Fry in Chicago with the NHRA guys. Race day, a special post-race edition coming up as soon as we move aside here in about 2 minutes or so. Well, an interesting day. Gordon dominates, but today it was Jarrett who got the win. Don't forget, coming up after race day, NASCAR Garage. Chris McClure, Leslie Goodell, then Hot Rod TV at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then at 6 o'clock, the Fram Route 66 Nationals. The NHRA making their first ever visit to Chicago, Illinois. Dick Bergman, always a pleasure. See you in Pocono. Buddy Baker, we'll see you Friday night in Texas.
Yeehaw, ready.
For Buddy and for Dick Bergman, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns, I'm Eli Gold, congratulating Dale Jarrett. Goodbye from Dover, Delaware.